Hello and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty channel where we talk about all around natural beautiful stuff. And okay, here we go. That's why. Oops. All right. Thank y'all for waiting for me. I was actually live on my other channel. I got things mixed up here. So I was talking for a little bit over there on my not all around my real estate apostle channel, and I was wondering like why I see there's a few people, but nobody. Anyway, I fixed it. I'm on the right one now. So hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. First, I'd like to just thank everybody, all my new subscribers, all the new support that I've been receiving, and it's just been tremendous, and all of the support that Shanquella has been receiving, and all the attention that we have been drawing and actually putting on her case. It's been overwhelming. All right, so we starting off. Y'all was over here. Let me see. Go over here. Grab. We got poetic Kels here. Get over here, mouse. Where is there we go. It says hi, hello to you too, and welcome back, and thank you for coming back to the channel. I just appreciate, this thing has been really moving and growing fast for me, and I appreciate the love and support to the community, all of the emphasis we've been placing on women's lives and all that stuff, and the support. And then the other thing I want to shout out to all of the healthcare professionals who have been supporting and backing me up, and more power to us nurses and anybody who's working in the healthcare industry. And I appreciate everybody for especially the people in the healthcare, the RNs and stuff like that. Yes, 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 standing up, we sticking together, sisterhood in that too, to shed the light and keep this so we can educate the community so they'll be able to dissect and show how these lives are, lies, like the reports are lies. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to read the police report, and we can just really dispute all of the lies there, and also from compare them to the actual death certificate that was presented first, and then afterwards they come up with this story. And that's another way that we can tell when people are lying, is because the story changes after the fact. We do know that the truth is the truth, and it always is, right? So that's one good thing and one good way to know. Thank you guys, and when you come on in, hit that like button on your way in, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And we're just excited here to know that we're building this community to be able to support victims into becoming survivors. And we are lifting our voices here to continue to speak the names of victims and survivors so we can tell our stories, because one of the ways we know that these abusers tend to keep us in this situation is because most of us will go silent. Most victims will be silent and won't say anything, and we stay separated, and then we build up these fears towards other people where we're not making connections and relationships with people out of fear of being used or hurt in some kind of way. So that's the energy that we're putting together here, and I'm just excited to be a part of it. For those of you who don't know, I'm 51 years old. I have 30 plus years, over 30 years of nursing experience. And one of the reasons why I got involved to speak out on this Shanquella Robinson case after seeing that horrific video was because I have many years working with spinal cord injury patients on ventilators and things like that. And I was upset when I heard, that they were reading off this fake police report saying that they were giving 3 hours of care before she was pronounced deceased in Mexico. And I just wanted to show how fake that was, that anybody, with any science or medical experience, would know that that's fake, that after a spinal cord injury, you're not able to breathe, and it's impossible for you to have been around for 3 hours after sustaining the injury that the autopsy report stated. So these were ways that we were ruling out the false lies that they were speaking about on the Shanquella Robinson case. That they came up with, the story was afterwards, after the police, not after the autopsy report came through. It's when all these new lies came out to try to paint the picture for this new story that they were going to be talking about, telling of how this all went down. So I'm going to take another moment to shout out some names of some of my new subscribers, because I was really touched in that everyone is feeling this empathy for Miss Shanquella. Okay, and there's some new comments too here. But a special shout out to M Mac, and I want to read the comment here. It says, "Awesome live. Became a subscriber yesterday. Loved your insight, patience, empathy, and yes, you're fine." Thank you very much, M Mac. And you're 100% about the Dilaudid. I had gallstones and gallbladders removed, and I was undilaudid twice for a week. Looking forward to your next live. Hopefully, M Mac, you're out here, and because this is my next live. All right. And see poetic. Oh, hey, Just JTV. Hey, at All Around Natural Beauty. How you doing? I'm glad to see you. I went over to your channel, and I actually made a short from your visit up here yesterday. So thank you so much for coming on this late night Saturday night, so we can keep building our community. I'm just grateful for all of this love and support. And I've got a new subscriber. Shout out to Miss Scorpio. She really helped me. She helped me brought up this what do you call it? Making timestamps. Miss Scorpio, she made a comment, said for me to start putting timestamps on your videos. For example, when you're starting your intro conversation and when you're eventually jumping into the main topic. Other than that, great video. Thank you so much, Miss Scorpio. Oh, I didn't even say that right. What is that? Miss Scorpio. Yeah, Miss Scorpio. And I responded back, and she responded back right away with instructions on how to do it. So sounds like a lot of work, but I do. It's on my list of things to do. I sure thank you though for your input. And okay, here we go. Something else here. Jess J says, "Oh, thank you. I'm fine. That's good. That's so great. That's so great." And also, I was impressed and proud that I've got some more nurses and stuffers coming around here. So I want to give a shout out to Unbiased Unbossed, because I believe it was her. I know it was her video that she did, a reaction video to me. And by putting the RN in the title, I think that kind of changed everything. So, it made me remember, like, yeah, you have a right to say this stuff, because, otherwise lay people will just believe whatever they, report, just like y'all believe ER and all those other hospital TV shows and stuff. It's fake, y'all. It's not how things go down. And just to clarify, I know the lead attorney was talking about the movie Pulp Fiction when they supposedly injected the lady. I'm believing, that when you hear about those kind of things, as far as like that, it's probably Narcan, not adrenaline or not epinephrine. Like that's, not something that most people walk around with. So just a disclaimer on that, and again, that's not how it's done. So I want to read the comment off that I got from a new subscriber. This is Deborah, and she says, "I am also an RN for over 40 years. I am also an all-arounder, worked in many different settings, specializing in some. You are on point. Those of us who know better and the truth should try to help educate others. The movements that they saw after were uncontrolled. That was because the nervous system was still fired up. It takes time for the nervous messages to stop sending signals. I go with the autopsy report. Exactly. We got to go with that. She was already the D word. I doubt very much that the nurse who saw her got any normal vital signs. They were trying to protect the villa's image, I think. I encourage people to read and educate themselves so when they hear these statements, they will know the truth. After spinal cord injuries, messages from the brain cannot get through. The spinal nerve below the level of the injury gets signals, but these signals are unable to get up to the spinal cord tract to the brain. Therefore, they can be uncontrolled movements. Justice must come. How long can they hide? Karma, divine intervention will continue. Time and God will win in the end for sure. So sad. And that was a comment to from yesterday and from a nurse. And I'm just so grateful that, we saying this kind of stuff so it doesn't sound like I'm just some, some weirdo or wacko, saying that all this stuff. And then for the most part, most people who saw the video, they still felt like they saw when the thing happened. So, again, we can listen to that. I just wanted to take that time to say that because it really touched my heart. And I've, been super emotional about this for the last few days because it's, I feel like I'm being heard. A lot of times, like I said before, women, we rarely are heard, we get overlooked and no one's really listening out for us and stuff like that. So I'm just proud to be an older woman here and able to impart some knowledge and help the people out. So without further ado, we're going to start off with, maybe I should probably try and I'm going to just read the new thing here. And also too, there was some updates. So I'm going to just start off with that. It's going to take a peek at the front page and see here. Absolutely listening. Salute. Thank you, M Mac. All right. I appreciate that. Yeah, absolutely listening. So just to see like the random stuff that's going on, she is still front page news. Front page is a term back from the olden days when we had newspapers and stuff, right? I wonder, do they still make newspapers? Probably not. All right, so let me go over here to this here. What is this? No, that's me. Let me get out of this, and we're just gonna take a random look and see what is happening here. Oh, okay. So yeah, this is gonna be a pretty well, I don't know. What time is it? Yeah, okay. So um other people were talking about, they're clearing up these lies, and there's still this going back and forth talk about the trans possibility, these trans and all that stuff, which is kind of a rabbit hole subject that we really don't want to go down. So here's a quick short little video we'll share. This is from Good Morning America. We'll see what they got to say. Let me get this queued up. Wait, pause. And yeah, y'all let me know. I'm gonna go through it with y'all. So here, present, share the screen. Okay, people, let's see what they saying here. Keep it. I haven't seen this. I just picked this up. It's just random. It's only like 2 minutes and some change. Acquaintance at a luxury resort. They're looking to extradite the suspect to face charges. Can y'all hear that? Put a 1 in the chat if you could hear this. ABC's Serene Shaw joins us with more as that woman still hasn't been named. Serene, good morning. Hey, good morning, Janae. A 25-year-old went down to Mexico with some friends to celebrate someone's birthday. And just one day into that vacation, she turned up dead. And now officials have another big problem on their hands. Their prime suspect is no longer in the country. What? This morning, a potential legal limbo as Mexican prosecutors seek to extradite
25-year-old after a video online, too violent to show, reveals Robinson assaulted in the hotel room. Mexican authorities issuing an arrest warrant for that.
Wow. Okay. I'm just like, I was checking out, but look at, okay. Right.
Clinton,
Rabbit
now
hole.
back in America for the crime of femicide, the act of killing a woman based on her gender.
On the one hand, the U.S. government is going to take this seriously, and on the other hand,
really
it's
low.
not obligated to turn her over.
On October 29th, local police reports state that a Baja Resort town guest told medical staff around 2 in the afternoon that Robinson had drunk a lot of alcohol. A doctor determining she was stable but dehydrated, adding Robinson's acquaintances refused to send her to the hospital. The police report stating the Charlotte native went into cardiac arrest, declared dead by 6 p.m. But an autopsy differing from that report, stating medical officials arrived before 3 p.m., quickly declaring Robinson dead from severe spinal cord injury and a dislocated neck. Robinson's family wants answers.
I'm just waiting on that day when someone can be arrested. That's all I'm waiting on.
As for those contradictions, Dan Abrams tells us that can happen when you have different officials looking into the same.
Wow. All right. So someone had a question. Do you think she fought her again after the video ended? She was screaming, "Get up." You mean, did she continue to attack her? Because I remember seeing there was another video that showed the other lady, the lighter skinned one, the Winter, I believe that's the light skinned woman. They were still, butchering her body basically. But we saw after the first one is the one that delivered the that broke the back and all that stuff. So anybody that touched her after that, after that first lady did, if they touched her before 15 minutes, to me that they should all be, held responsible for her demise. But this was interesting because we can see here that the story started to change after the autopsy report, where that's how, to me, you can see that these are all lies, because if they had already pronounced her deceased, before, then all of a sudden the news stories coming out that they spent 3 hours working and all that stuff. And then I'm gonna read that for you in a second. But let's see. Is that yes better for the sound? Okay, perfect. Thank you all for keeping that up, keeping me up with that. But that was pretty interesting there. And then it sounds like I heard them say that the person who they were trying to extradite has left the country, So if that's the case, and that's really sad, because at least if nothing else, when I don't know, like how that works. Should they have taken their passports when they returned back? Like, how were they able, to get out of the country? Like, this is starting to get a little bit weird. You see, Juanita Newby, yes, because you can see she kneed her in the back and kicked her in the face. Yes, I saw that too. And that was already after she was plopped down, paralyzed on the floor. So them yelling at her to get up, to me, it was like they realized, because when you see that, like I was saying before, when you see somebody pass away, expire, it's not it's a feeling, like it's scary, right? So when you know that you're responsible for it, you may like try to insist that the person, like, hey, get up, like, you want to try to make it seem like, they can get up, and you don't want to take responsibility that you are the cause for them not being able to get up. And that shows to me how vicious they were to continue to attack somebody who was obviously helpless, right? Could not even mount a defense or anything like that. So it wasn't a long attack, it wasn't long, because it was over. We saw it within a few seconds. Roger Gibson says suspect no longer in the country. Yes, that I didn't know that. That's I guess as soon as she heard that they made the arrest warrant, I guess, that's the smart thing to do is just start hightailing it out of town to try to, I don't know. But where can you go that, this should be worldwide, I hope. You see, just JTV says, I definitely believe the autopsy. Of course, because like how we said, we got to believe science, right? We're not going to believe a story. That's how you can tell they want to distract you away from the truth, because the truth is the truth, right? We know that an injury like that, you have a lifespan between 7 to 15 minutes. They gave the 15 minutes just to, ensure that for sure after 15 minutes, there's no way that you could survive after that. So that's the reason why you do believe the autopsy, because it's just science, right? It's not a story. It's not a hypothesis. It's facts. It's facts. It's science. See, Just TV says her passport was revoked, so don't think she left the country. How do we know her? We knew that her passport was revoked, or maybe she got out of there. Who knows? I don't know. That's a good question. Anybody know anything about that? That her passport was revoked? Let's see. Roderick Gibson said they had plenty of time to leave. I know. Like this happened at the end of October. Here we are at the end of November. So they could have walked to Mexico or something, some other place. Hopefully they're not planning to go back to Mexico. Let's see. Juanita Newby. Someone went to Connecticut. Wow. Let's see. A Piece of Mind 9 says the news means she is no longer in Mexico, not left the U.S. Oh, okay, got you. They're saying that she's no. Oh, okay, got you. So then she's probably still here in the United States then. Thank you so much, Peace of Mind, for that. Okay, so the Mexican authorities saying that she's not in their country. Okay, got it. Makes sense. Thank you. Let's see, where is that? Thank you. M. Max says there's only a handful of countries that won't extradite. Okay. The closest to the U.S. is Cuba. I highly doubt she's smart enough to go there. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I believe they're still here then. Because, they're trying to hide somewhere, trying to find a big rock to hide under. Let's see. Just JTV says, yes, all of them were suspended and revoked. Okay. That's good then. That's good. Let's see here. LOL. Okay, yeah. We were. I guess we were all. I know I was. I was thinking that they were talking about here left the country. Thank you so much for clearing that up. Wow, that was extremely interesting there. So I do have a news report that's reading off this little fake police report. It just gets interesting here. So let's go ahead. We're gonna take a read on that and see what's going on here. We can pick out some more lies. All right, so we have here, police report reveals Shanquella Robinson spent 3 hours with a doctor before she expired. All right, so even in this little part right here, police report, right? Police report. There's your clue right there, right? So this here is a distraction because the medical autopsy report says something different. So they put here police report. Why would we believe the police? What their report says? That has nothing. When has the police report have anything to do with the time and cause of expiration? Right? That's fake right there. So we don't even have to. We going to, but we don't even have to read any further right here. Police report reveals the doctor spent 3 hours, right? So most of us have been to the doctor, right? When have you ever known a doctor to spend 3 hours working with you, spending 3 hours with you, right? When? Has anybody ever experienced that? That'll be a no, because doctors don't do that. And then the other thing too is that as a medical professional, there's never a time that you want to be the only one when somebody is not doing well, when someone's crashing. You want to call and get as many people as possible. So I know that that's fake because the doctor would have went on and called 911 or, whatever medical emergency services that they have there and not be, because nobody wants the person to go on them, right? You don't want that. You want them to go someplace else. Like in the hospitals, like you don't pass in surgery. They won't. They'll pump you up, and do CPR to get you to the ICU, and then so you can go there. Because, I guess for like liabilities and certain, things like that, nobody goes in surgery. I worked in surgery and had one person, that, expired, but they didn't even make it to the table. The person had got shot like 11 times and, they didn't even make it to the table. We got them there, and before we could even transfer them to the table, they were gone. And that was the only time. Other than that, we gonna patch you up and get you to the ICU so you can go there, because nobody want to fill out all of that paperwork. So why would a doctor risk their license rendering care to a person who needed to be moved immediately to emergency because they weren't even responding? So that shows me there that that's more lie, right? With a doctor before she passed away. Okay, so we'll scroll on down here and see more of the story. But let me see. I'm going to get these little comments before I get too far behind. Juanita says, but remember, until the feds got involved, they were free to go anywhere. Yeah, that's true, because the feds didn't even get involved until sometime in November. It wasn't even, in October. You see, a peace of mind says, no problem. Love your take on things as an RN. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. I appreciate that. And see, just Juanita Newbie, good point. All right. Excellent. Okay, so let's go and get back on over here and see the tank. No, I'm going to make that. There we go. All right. It says, according to experts, right? Now, see how remember I was telling you about words and stuff like that? You got to dissect it. According to experts, right? From a police report obtained by the Charlotte Observer, a doctor from the local hospital in Cabo, Mexico, was with Robinson and the other house members for almost 3 hours before she was pronounced deceased on October 29th. Okay, so just in this little bitty paragraph alone, look at all these bones, right? Here's a bone right here, according to experts, right? We already have the autopsy report. So what this here is just bogus. This is baloney. This here is a baloney sandwich right here. An expert police report. Again, no medical nothing here. We already know the science and the medical stuff here. So here is just more story, right? So we could get distracted, right? Well, they said the doctor was there for 3 hours, This is all fake. All right, so here we go. It says, who are Shanquella Robinson's friends? FBI launches investigation. The partial police report was provided to the Charlotte Observer by an investigative reporter from the Metro Mex news publication in Mexico, right? So to me, the Mexican authorities are feeding these lies to Charlotte, her home state, to distract everybody, because I believe that the Mexican police were part of the cover-up, that they took the bribe and, painted this story and stuff, because it sounds like, someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. Like, none of the documentation sounds like a doctor or a nurse. Like a doctor or nurse wouldn't write that kind of stuff, because it's not what you would do. Like, there's no place in time where a doctor would spend 3 hours alone with a patient trying to revive them. That's not how it goes. Even in the hospitals, when we're running codes on the patients, the doctors aren't there at the side the whole time. Once they get stable, they're out of there. And it's the nurses, in the pharmacy, all these other teams that are around there. And two, like I said, nobody wants to be the one there when the person expires. Like you want them to be someplace else. Like if you're in a hospital and you're just on a regular med surge floor, if you crash or take a, turn for the worse, they're going to call a code blue, and that's going to get the ICU nurses, the crash team down there to get the patient back up to the ICU or down to the emergency room or some place where they can get emergency care immediately. They don't want them to expire on the med surge floors because it's going to look bad that a patient came there and crashed and you didn't move them up to the proper level of care. So anybody who came to see her and didn't get her emergency medical care immediately is wrong. And they wouldn't have done that. Like no one would do that. You'd be calling immediately, immediately. No one tries to do the rescuing by themselves and thinking about what they need and all that kind of stuff. That's all fake, all more lies. Let's see. MMAC says, I know the parents are focused on arresting and prosecuting the MDers, but once that is resolved, the parents should sue the doctor that was present and the police department. Yes. I don't believe a doctor was present. I believe all of this came from the police department. I believe the whole story about a doctor being present, all that stuff is from the police department. I don't think, I don't think no doctor was present. I think that's part of the cover up. That is part of the cover. And I think we're going to see that too, because, I don't know. We'll see. I think it was all fake because I can't believe that a physician would, with all of that education would do, like something like that. And then too, if it was a real physician, the documentation wouldn't have read like that. It read too elementary, like too, it didn't read of someone who has, a medical vocabulary, right? It didn't, none of that sounded medical. It sounded all lay, like something a lay person would say. MMAC says, I didn't even know doctors still made house calls. Exactly. Why wasn't 911 called immediately? Exactly. All right. Okay. Juanita says, yeah, I believe they stole her monies and paid them off. Exactly. That's how they were able to get this fake story, by throwing in money. And we already established that, the federales out there are crooked and, expect bribes. Like, you need to know that you're going to need to give them some bribe money to do things, right? That's just how it goes. So I'm believing that the monies went to them, the police, and they were the ones that, orchestrated the rest of this stuff with, some inside connections or something. Maybe there was somebody there from a medical something, but definitely not a professional, medical professional, because they would have done better for the documentation. And like I said before, there's no medical professional that wants to do CPR by themselves or be with a patient that's crashing that about to, check out of here. You ain't trying to be by yourself because you want the team with you. You want as many people as possible. You want to get the patient someplace else because you don't want to be there when it's, when it's lights out. You don't want that on you because you don't want it. Because it would have been a liability. Like there's no way the doctor would have took that risk. They'd be like, I'm calling 911. Boom. If you went to the doctor's office, say you're at the doctor's office, right? And they drew blood. They're going to draw some blood and they look at your labs and it looks like, you could possibly have a PE. Like your blood is showing that there could possibly be some clots, right? Or they take an x-ray and they see some clots. Now, do you think the doctor is going to keep you in the office and try to treat you there? Or they're going to tell you, they're going to call the hospital and say, I'm sending a patient over there, right? That's how this is done. I'm sure y'all know somebody who had to have an emergency surgery. I think it was you, MMAC, that said you had the gallbladder. If that was discovered at the doctor's office and if it had been emergency, like you had a hot appendix or something like that, they're calling the hospital and saying, I'm sending over this patient. If you got some bad labs, the doctor's not going to try to treat you there in the office. If it's emergency, you're being sent to the ER, period. They're not trying to do that because that's liability on them. Because how you're going to explain that you were there with a patient with a broken neck for 3 hours and you did nothing. You can't even explain that. So I know that that's fake. Super fake. Yeah. All right. So let's get back here to this here document and see. Let me see here. MX said, yes, it was me. I went to the ER twice. Okay, so they didn't see it the first time, or they tried to just give you a little pain medicine and send you home. Because when that happens, you just gotta that has to be done. Gotta get it out of there. Juanita says, you heard what the lead attorney says. The police make $300 a month and the doctors make about $2,000 a month. Wow. Yeah. But again, okay, so I get that. So say the doctors are looking for money. I believe that they would have at least documented it sounding like a doctor. Just because they're not making that much money, they still had to go to medical school. They still had to get the education and stuff for it, So that now all of a sudden they sound like a third grader with the writings, it just didn't sound like, what a doctor would say. Sounds more like what the police would say they think the doctors and people would say, right? But not someone who's had all this education. I don't think that, Now, I'm not saying that they wouldn't take bribes or something like that, but I would expect that their cover-up story would sound better. Like I would imagine that they would say that the person was deceased on arrival, like, not try to make up this fake story about, I was there working on them for 3 hours, because, when the person expires, after, when they expire, we try to go in there, get them fixed up before the family get in there. One technique we try to do is maybe put like a towel to tie so they're, the mouth doesn't be open. This painful. You don't want to see your loved one, with the mouth open. So we put a towel to kind of, because at one point you're going to freeze up and you don't want the mouth to be stuck, and you had to break the jaw to, close it up. So if they had just been there, all that time, all that stuff would have been set in. Like it's just fake, y'all. It don't happen like what they're saying. There's no way that they spent 3 hours there. Let's see. Juanita says they didn't sign the death certificate or document the time of death as AM or PM. Let me see if I can find the death certificate. I think the death certificate, had to have that. Shanquella. Yeah. Let me see here what this one's saying. So maybe that police report. So, we want to make sure that we're distinguishing between the police report and the actual autopsy report. Let's see. Please have it somewhere I can pull up and read. No, it didn't come up. All right, so let me see here. MMAX says, incredible as it may sound, the first time they removed my gallbladder, somehow I had 3 stones stuck again 2 years later. Wow. So do you think that they just, removed, stuck? Wow. Oh, that's really sad. All right. Okay. So B. Marie, hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Y'all hitting that like button on your way in here. Let's see here. This is an actual report. Let me see here. What is that? Okay, here's a little something. I'm just gonna read that though to you. It's not the death certificate, but I guess this is some words about it. So let me see here. Share here. Is that it? Yeah. All right. So this here says the Charlotte, North Carolina native Shanquella Robinson mysteriously deceased during a trip to San Jose del Cabo, Mexico. The harsh reality of her demise made headlines after her family received Robinson's autopsy report showing she had a broken neck and cracked spine. Wow. All right. And this here says Shanquella Robinson's friend could face up to 60 years in prison for her demise. Wow. Yeah, super, super sad there. Super sad there. And welcome to all the new people just joining the chat. I appreciate y'all coming over here and showing support for Shanquilla here. However, we need to get the likes up, right? So 26 likes and 26 likes. And there was a little booming noise there. 26 likes and 46 people in the chat. So appreciate it if y'all would hit the like button. And thank y'all so much for joining me here. So, okay. Oh, we didn't finish this here story on this investigation. And this here is Good Morning America. And it was 9 hours ago. So it's pretty recent. And we're just going to finish up the last little bit of it and see if there's some, not that, some more news on what's going on. Present, share, and then we'll finish this up. It's only about another minute or so of it.
Case, but that can be problematic for prosecutors. Janae?
So many unanswered questions, Maureen. Thank you.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. I thought it was maybe a little bit more information, but it wasn't. So that was interesting, though, to see how things are kind of moving along with Miss Shanquilla and the case. So we know that there's the arrest warrant and that they have looked for her, but they're saying, you know, she's out of the country. The Mexican authorities are saying that. We thank you for that clarification on that. However, they're still trying to distract us with these fake reports and this word salad they're doing here that's in total opposition of what the actual death report said, the death certificate says. And I'm still looking for it too. Where is he? Is that it? Yeah, there's more stuff about this arrest report. How did Shanquella Robinson die? Death certificate versus police report. There we go. See, so people are knowing that. So in the court like this, how is the death certificate versus the police report? You know, there's no comparisons. Like there's no comparisons to that. Like there's no comparisons. So this here lets you know that these are just distractions and stuff. And the police are probably highly doing this because they want, you know, for people to be distracted and not look at them like, dang, you know, we just got caught taking money and letting this here femicide, you know, go down with no problems and stuff. And that just to let me know that this probably is not the first time that this kind of stuff is going on, and this is the first time that it's been highlighted. James Tippin says, repent and believe the gospel. Thank you, James, and welcome to the chat here. So let's see, he's got something else that says, come to Christ and be saved. Okay. Thank you, James, for your concern here for us to repent and believe the gospel. Yep. Oh, B. Marie said, good evening to everyone. Thank you so much here for that. So here's a little report here that I guess this is from the Charlotte Observer. And let's see, I'm going to break down this one here. I wonder why they're trying to, they're still painting this picture as far as putting this out there. Especially she is somebody from there. All right, so it says here, the Charlotte Observer. Let me see if I can find a date, because the first one that we were reading, I think was, it's just Tuesday what? November 4th. That's from that there, the death certificate. All right, so an update. Arrest warrants have been issued for a suspect. Now, how y'all feel about this just being for a suspect? Why, I'm just a little offended that it's not arrest warrants for suspects. Like, why is it just for a suspect? Especially when we saw that there were at least two different people that was putting hands on her. Why is it just one arrest warrant? One. It says A, and that's what I keep hearing that too. That it's just one person that they're looking for. So, how are y'all feeling about that? Let's see here. Truth Seeks Me says our government is sick. I mean, everyday person, and even I want to know why our government doesn't stop Hollywood influencers. Why can the worst of the worst walk free and the six monsters walk? Yeah, I agree. Like and they throw us these little bitty crumbs saying, "Oh, we've issued an arrest warrant, right, for a suspect," and these people have been walking around for more, for a month, like nothing's happened, So I don't know. We were talking about this yesterday, as far as like maybe somebody's, would have been afraid to speak up since they, kind of got away with it. So, if you were there and saw it, would you have been brave enough to report it? Because obviously the authorities out here aren't doing anything about it or can't do anything about it. But, and then you saw that they got away with it. You saw that they actually paid these, the police, and it's working. I don't know. I might, be mum's the word here. B. Marie says, I feel because they have just visual evidence of Dejanay and the rest was bystanders. Oh, let's go. So, wasn't there like a video of the, what was the other girl's name? Lady's name? Winter, body slamming her. Because I know when this story first kind of came out, there were more videos, and then like they have been kind of diluted, like where they not showing all of them, and then they try to cut it. They only show like a steel frame of it, so you don't see the actual physical part of it. Let's see here. Sheila K. Hey, Sheila K. Maybe because the investigation continues. Okay, I got you. So, they start off with one, and they don't have enough to get the other ones yet. Yeah. We have to, I guess, be patient too sometimes, and wait for this legal system and stuff like that. And in this one here is a little bit different because it's in another country, and I don't know, poor people. M. Max says, as long as they can ensure that no one can leave the country, yeah, I believe that the person who recorded the fight should be questioned first. Okay, so why do you think that? Because they have the least amount to lose? Yeah. B. Marie says, no one saw this so-called video yet. What so-called video? Of the other girl body slamming her? B. Marie says, unless the FBI holding it until investigation is complete. Probably so too. A lot of times they have to have so much on there to make the charges stick. So maybe they're just, taking the time to make sure that they, get all of the evidence that they need to make those charges stick. I don't know. And then, it's hard to be waiting, for something to happen. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully that, we start getting some justice soon. But we know too here in this country how long it takes to get justice and stuff. It'd be a year later before things happen. So, this is still new, it's still early. So let's get back over here and see what else they're talking about. It says, previous story, the death certificate from Shanquella Robinson and internal police records from Cabo authorities significantly differ or conflict in several key ways. Robinson, 25, was a Charlotte native who traveled to a resort villa in the San Jose del Cabo, Mexico, with 6 of her friends on October 28th. She expired a day later. What enforcement officials call a femicide investigation is underway, and the FBI has opened a parallel investigation. The State Attorney's General Office of Baja California announced its investigating Robinson's death as a femicide. Femicide is the M word of a woman at the hands of a man or account of her gender, on account of her gender. It is broadly classified as a hate crime. Wow. Uncertainty and questions compounded by the complexity of Robinson's demise in a country far from her home, have been at the center of the mystery and outcry for weeks. Outcry for weeks. Wow. So this here is really interesting there that, they put this definition of the femicide as of a woman at the hands of a man, right? And then there's been all these little rumors and talk about, possible, I don't know. MX says the record is the only one that can negotiate testimony for no or little time. The recorder is the only one that can negotiate testimony for no one or little time. Okay. Truth seeks me. We have tech to search phones remotely, videos and text. Our government has text that is beyond invasive. It's not about evidence. How long did our government know about Jeffrey Epstein? I agree. Truth seeks me. Would you mind not to write out in the all caps? I don't think that's good. It's supposed to not be in all caps. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Jackie Barty says, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Jackie. It's a new name. Thank you, and welcome to the All Around Natural Beauty channel here, where we're talking about all these things, and we're getting the opinion of an old nurse who worked with spinal cord population for a while, and could see the fakeness of this here report that they were talking about here. So I'm just giving my opinion on that, and my concern too as a mother of a 24-year-old woman, and as a woman myself too, and this new light that we're shining on this whole femicide issue that's been going on for forever, and just grateful that we're finally giving women a voice here. All right, Lavonda Riggins, welcome, Lavonda Riggins. They may be trying to let others feel they're okay, and start moving around freely. I believe their intentions are to eventually get all 6, if not just for aiding and abetting on a crime. Yes. Yeah, that's right. And I know, like I said, I'm in medical. I don't really know too much about the law stuff, but that makes sense. And I know that that they want to take time to make sure that the charges stick, right? Sometimes they rush too soon to make an arrest, then they don't have enough evidence or something like that, and then could lose the case in the long run if they rush into it, if they rush off into it. Thank you for your comment, Lavonda. I want to bring this one back up because this is real significant too, because I like what you're saying here. How long did our government know about Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah. And I think that's why they're trying to sell this other story too, because it's better if we could believe that instead of knowing that the government over there has been corrupt all this time, and that there's probably countless bodies that's been dropped off over there, and nobody has been held accountable for their demise because of all of the undercover crooked stuff that they doing over there, and people getting away with it. Let's see here. B. Marie says 5,000 in US dollars is 96,000 in Mexican currency pesos. I think doctors got paid off. What you think? They really don't make a lot of money, I heard. Yeah, someone was saying earlier, that they don't make a lot of money. The reason why I don't think that it was a doctor who wrote the report is because of how undoctorly it sounded. Like, it didn't even sound like a nurse wrote it. The language, like, there's some medical terminology, medical language, stuff like that. It's Latin. There's terminology that you have to learn to work in this industry. So none of the stuff in the documentation sounded medical. It sounded like a lay person had wrote it, and that's why it probably was so effective in causing regular people to say, oh, well, look and see this here, because it sounds like a TV script or something. It's not. It didn't sound real. So most medical professionals, when they heard that, immediately thought, knew it was a bologna sandwich. So I'm sure, if the doctor was paid off, I don't believe they had anything to do with the writing and stuff like that. They maybe just, signed off on whatever they were going to say and, moved it on that way. But yeah, I don't think a doctor would write that like that, because it's just really making it look bad for them, because you would have to be questioned to say, why did you, have a patient who's crashing for 3 hours before you did something? Like, you'd have to answer to that. True Six Me says, thank you. Nah, that young lady got seriously hurt and Kay on that trip. Okay, thank you. But so did all of the Hollywood child stars. I'm not letting this go. Yes. And that's what we want to do here, on this platform, is to have a voice for every victim. Every victim. So we don't do moments of silence over here. We do moments of speaking. We speaking out the names of the victims. We speaking out the names of the abusers and stuff like that. We're not holding no secrets. We're not holding any secrets. We are speaking out, because a lot of these, a lot of victims, we're kind of trained to not say anything. You just take your own pain and keep everything inside. But we need to talk about it so we can make sure that other people don't get victimized behind us, because we didn't expose the abusers. Oh, I missed one. Let's see. Juanita says they called an autopsy necropsy. Let's see. M. Matt says, hypothetically, had the doctor sent her to the hospital and she was stabilized, what type of long-term medical issues do you believe she would have had? Okay, so she definitely would have been a quadriplegic. So she would, have a tracheostomy placed so the ventilator could be attached here to, keep her breathing for her. She'd be on a breathing machine. She would not be able to eat because she had an atlas injury. So that's like, the very top. Pretty much her head was knocked off of her body. They knocked her head off. So, and I had a patient like that had that atlas injury too. Those people have very, very limited movement, right? Because it's not even a C fracture. It's at the atlas. So they can't hold their heads up. It just, head is just off like that. So she would need to have stabilization for her head every time, time we position her, a tracheostomy, probably a peg tube or some type of gastrostomy tube so she can be artificially fed. She would, if they got the oxygen to her before maybe like 7 to 10 minutes, she could have possibly still had a brain, as far as like having memory, maybe be able to speak, when the ventilator gives breath, she could learn how to speak again with the ventilator. but most of the time they, depending on, like I said, how far the injury is, and with hers being so high, she probably wouldn't have been able to talk for real, or voice would have been very low and whispery and really sound mechanical, because she'd have to wait for the ventilator to give the breath and kind of try to time it to be able to speak, because now your brain has no control over when you take the breaths and all that stuff. So speaking would have been, a challenge, and she would have had, really no quality of life. She would have relied on a person to be able to turn and reposition her every 2 hours to prevent bed sores, to give medicines. There are certain drugs they have to take, because after the injury's been there, your body is still going to have like spasms, because there's certain things that we do subconsciously, like stretch. When you get up in the morning, you stretch, right? Your muscles do that. But when you're paralyzed, you don't have the opportunity to do that. So what happens is they bodies start getting spasms, and they may jerk or make it's not them doing it. It's just their body jerking and responding. And that's what I was saying before. When they do that, sometimes they make these spasms. The ventilator might pop off, right? And so when the ventilator pops off, the paralyzed person is just still. They're just still, because they can't. You won't see their chest rise and fall. When you watch somebody's respirations, one of the vital signs that we check are the respiration. So we're watching to see how fast, how many times your chest is going to rise and fall, and then we count the actual respiration. When the ventilator is off, there's no rise and fall of the chest. And that's what I was explaining about when the neck was fractured, she wouldn't have breathed anymore. So when she was sitting down there and they were yelling at her to get up, she literally, her face, she could have been making face, expressions, because she's still mentally aware. She's just unable to do anything from her body from like the face down. She definitely would have been paralyzed from, about right up here. She probably wouldn't have been able to, maybe even open her mouth or anything like that with more speech and all that stuff. So she definitely would have had a very, horrible quality of life. And then to still be mentally aware, to remember the incident, to know what she would have had all that, would have had all of that. I had a patient that was, back in, I think it was like 90, 99 or something like that. Anyway, he had been shot in the face right here under the ear. So he was paralyzed, like he had the atlas injury. And, he still remembered everything and stuff like that, because your brain is still fine. He could still hold conversation, still talk, he still wanted to listen to his music and all that stuff. But, you can't even do anything. Like if you have a itch on your forehead, you have to, try to get the attention of the nurse to come over here and scratch your head or something like that. Everything, someone has to brush your teeth. It's not a good diagnosis. It's not a good quality of life after that. Let's see. Juanita said, so did the mom. All right. And Truth Seeks Me says, the crack problem in the U.S. during the 80s was done by our government, much like the cartel issues. A child trafficking is an issue in Mexico. Is due to the U.S. Wow. Yeah. Yes, I know. I said, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles in the 80s and I saw when they pumped the crack off into the community, to see the change of how people were. It was like one day it was, different. And then all of a sudden this crack came out and everybody was turning into zombies. And it was something. It was really, really something. And yes, and we know that the government usually is behind a lot of this stuff. Thank you, Truth Seeker. Juanita says, so did the mom and dad have another autopsy done once she got back to the States? No, I don't believe so. What I understand is that when they received the autopsy, that's when they saw that this didn't match what they were told from the police report, the doctor's report. The autopsy is what let them see that, it didn't match up, that she had that injury. So it wasn't a new autopsy report. It was the one from Mexico on there. But it was totally different from what the police report was stating. Ebony Giovanna says brain activity. Brain activity. Yeah. So B. Marie says, so how do you do CPR on someone who has a broken neck? Don't you have to tilt the head to give breaths? 14 rounds of CPR, that would seem exhausting. Exactly. That's the other way how you know that that is a flat out lie, right? Okay, so again, I have worked ICU, critical care, and trauma nurse, right? So I've done a lot of CPR, a lot of CPR. CPR is tiring. It's very physical, and not only, about the neck, we're cracking ribs, right? So if you're going to have CPR, you're going to we're cracking ribs, right? We're cracking ribs. And you can only do this for so long before you're exhausted. So we switch, right? So you're doing the CPR, giving the breaths, right? You want to have, going to be two people that, yes, they would have had to do a head tilt chin lift. So if you get there, you see somebody's not, no, you're not going to do that by yourself. You're going to call 911 so you can get a team there. And we see that she needs to be, sorry for bumping on this mic, y'all, transferred. Like nobody in their right mind would try to start CPR without calling 911. The first thing you do, you come to a patient down, the quickest, the nearest bystander, you call 911. You start delegating for people to get things in and get the AED. We're doing stuff. You've got a team. You're not doing it by yourself, because even if it's only two of us, I'm doing the CPR, the chest compressions. This is exhausting. This require, this is a lot of work, So now we got to switch. So how are you're not doing that for 3 hours? There's no way. And who has 14 rounds? What? And it doesn't even make sense. There's so many different medications that we push during a cold, right? And adrenaline is not something no one calls it adrenaline. It's epinephrine, and we say epi, right? And epi needs something, another companion. And then how were they giving it? They said they couldn't even start IV. More lies, right? So the doctor is going there to make a house call. What doctor, what nurse, what any medical profession is walking around with CPR drugs in their pocket or in their medical bag? No one's doing that, because no one is wanting to do CPR on anybody outside of the hospital. Nobody wants that. Nobody want to be there. Nobody want to be the one when the person checks out. Even in the hospital, we do the hot potato. We passing it around. Like I said, especially if you having problems in surgery. Oh no, you not going. You're not gonna. Nope. You ain't going to the upper room in surgery. Somebody else gonna have to fill out that report. So we moving you someplace else. You're not going to be in no, that doesn't happen. So no, this is all lies. And nobody would try to do CPR on somebody with an obvious injury like that. Nobody was going to want to do that. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to want to risk it. You're going to feel like, hey, this person needs real help. Nobody's going to do that. Because they're going to ask, like, hey, why didn't you get called for help? Like, who does that? Nobody does that. Jackie Barty. Hello, welcome, Jackie. Yep, my brother got hurt playing football. That's so true. Yeah, it's a lot. Some football, players, you get hit in the back, you get paralyzed from the waist down. So it depending on where they, get that injury at. So yeah, this spine is so important, and it handles, a lot of stuff. And once it's injured, it's no repairing it. It's a sad situation. So, I know the actor Christopher Reeve played Superman. He back in the 90s, he had a horseback riding injury that left him a quadriplegic, where he was paralyzed from the neck down. He wrote a book, and he was real. He did a lot of work with a lot of research and a lot of support for spinal cord injuries, trying to get, something to help, maybe regenerate the nerves and stuff. They were doing stem cell research, all kind of different things, to try to give some type of hope to people with paralysis, because, what a diagnosis, especially, it's a tough diagnosis, because to be, especially up here, just a face, you just a head, and you still got your brain and all that stuff, but you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. But he did help with a lot of different things, like they had the blow straws to be able to do the Morse code to type, so they were able to, like write and do things on the computer with a straw, and it's really sad. It's a tough diagnosis to have, a tough diagnosis, because you require lifelong care. And see, Ebony says, rotate her. Oh, you mean for the CPR? Yeah. But, like I said, again, nobody would have taken that chance. She would not have been available for anything, because she would have been gone 15 minutes after that injury. Let's see. Yes, honey, you're right. All righty. And B. Marie says, at Juanita, the FBI did a second autopsy the day before the funeral, the parents said. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Thank you for clearing that up. See, Juanita says, NBA young boy neck was broken as a child. You can still see the halo scars. Yeah. Okay. So a broken, they said her spinal cord. That's a different thing. So there's, wish I had my little skeleton thing. All right. So, in between the little vertebrae is the nerve, right? So if you get a fracture on the bones, but the nerve, the cord is intact, you're good, right? You just have to wait for the bones to heal up. But if the cord is severed, if that cord is damaged, then there's no repair. So the young NBA neck broken was probably just a fracture from the bones, and not the actual spinal cord itself, right? So the cord is surrounded, it's surrounded, supposed to be protected by the vertebrae, right? The vertebrae around the actual cord. So if this is severed, then there's no signal. That's the signal traveling through the spinal cord. It's like a little freeway of nerves, the wires and stuff, right? So that if the wires are cut, then there's no signals. So you could still, not be paralyzed if you broke, even with a broken back. If the cord is not damaged, then you're good. If the cord is damaged, it's over, right? So a lot of times if they say, the back snapped, the cord broke, then that's when you for sure was going to have paralysis. Or if a bullet went through you, it severed your cord or something like that, or you snapped, then there's, once the cord is damaged, then it's over. It's a done deal. That's horrific. Yes, it is. Baby girl says justice. Juanita says, thanks at B. Marie. Yes, thank you for sharing the information and keeping us updated and giving the clarity. Ebony says, took our mother in Oakland. Okay. Did they ever mention the poison? No, I didn't hear anything about no poison. Anybody hear something about poison? Or I might be reading this out of context here. Lace Jackson. Hello, Lace. I've never seen that name. So you are new here. Hello, Lace. Hello, didn't the best friend say he assisted the nurse with CPR? Oh, wow. Okay, no, I did not know that, right? Okay, so yeah. Okay, y'all, come on. Right? All right. The best friend assisted the nurse in CPR, right? Now, if the nurse is there, I'm a nurse. All right, so I'm getting somebody to get some help, because I'm not trying to be here by myself with a crashing patient and some civilians. I'm not trying to do all that. We need to get some professionals here. We need to get this person to a hospital setting, because obviously she's going to need some surgery or something. This got to be put back together, So we doing some, we doing something until we get help there. But there's no way that I'm trying to work here, that anyone's trying to help the person there outside of the hospital. This is urgent. This requires immediately being removed. Like there's no one that would be, saying, yeah, let's just see if maybe we should give her IV. Let's see if she's going to sleep it off. When you get there, you see no signs of respirations, yeah. So no, the best friend did not help. Preach, thank you. Yes, I love it. Juanita says, yep, even the George Floyd, they needed help. So they pulled the ambulance away from the crowd and the fire rescue helped. Wow. Yeah, that was hard there too. When you see, I saw the look in the face of the officer that had his knee on the neck. You can see that totally was, a narc move there. He was purposely, he did that on purpose and then tried to, switch it around. Like, they've been doing these kind of little sneaky narc moves all this time. It is raining really hard out there. All right. So Truth Seeks Me. Who founded Ghetto Gang Black Elites characterized Black Hollywood influencers? We changed America once in slave times, fought for our space. Look at us now. We must do better. We the people. I like you, Truth Seeker. Truth Seeks Me. All right. Yes, we do need to do better. We do. And we are doing it now. So it starts with each one healing themselves. Like I said before, when you get on a plane, they instruct you to put your oxygen mask on first before you try to help the person next to you. And that's because we all need oxygen. So if I'm trying to help you put your oxygen on and I don't have my oxygen on, I'm going to pass out. Then you're going to pass out because you don't have any oxygen. So the best thing that you can do for anybody is to make sure that you're good. Take care of yourself first. So I put my oxygen on and now I'm available to help not only you, but I can help you, and you. I can help multiple people. But if I'm focused on trying to help you, then, no one's going to be helped. That's why you can't help anybody unless you help yourself first. Always keep that in mind. Let's see. Lavonda Riggins says, in her father's interview, he stated her face was really damaged. Wow. So why did medical person just accept their claims of alcohol poisoning in the first place? To me, cover up was being supported then. Exactly. That's why I'm saying, y'all, we're just looking at the facts. We're not worrying about this story. Don't get focused on the story because these stories are distractions, right? If her face is all banged up and swollen and having all these obviously injuries, she's got trauma to the face, trauma to her body. This is, shows again a cover up. So if you are the doctor and you get on the scene, why didn't you try to treat these injuries and stuff? That alone should have just sent you to say, hey, we need to get this person to a hospital because there's some trauma here, right? So yeah, cover up from point of arrival. MMAX says, we're getting some great information and insight here, ladies and gentlemen. Please hit the like button. We need this type of content creators in the algorithm. Thank you, MMAC. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful to be, giving out the information. It feels good to, have my 30 years, so I'm retired now. I still feel like I'm a nurse. Part of nursing is teaching. We're taught to teach the public and stuff. That's part of our nursing. We do teaching and all that stuff, and to support everybody. That's what we like to do. We are advocates for people. Ebony says, I meant, did they ever mention alcohol poisoning again? Sorry about that. Oh, no problem. I thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, that's true. See, that's another clue right there when they keep switching it up, right? So they saw that we weren't buying the alcohol poisoning. Now it's this new stuff too. That's true. I don't remember the last time I heard about the alcohol poisoning. Good one there. Yeah. So more distractions, right? Let's see. B Marie says, I think she's asking about the alcohol poisoning. Yeah. I just heard the poisoning, but yeah. So And that's the other reason why I say the cover up was so fake, is because they were trying to document it to support the alcohol poisoning. When they talked about the seizure, right? So most people know that, you can die of alcohol poisoning, and, that you'll have seizures and all that stuff. All of the documentation just seemed to be leading so it could support them saying that, she had the alcohol poisoning. But once we found out about the neck injury, now the whole alcohol poisoning stuff is out the door, because 15 minutes, that's the lifespan for that injury. 15 minutes. So the rest of that stuff is all lies. It has to be, because otherwise the autopsy report, and even you can't just say it was that autopsy report. If any medical professional, any physician were to read the findings that from the report, as far as like see the x-rays, read the report and all that stuff, they would have come with the same conclusion, that the time of expiration would have been 15 minutes after this injury is received. It's just like if you got, stabbed in the heart, quickly, I'm so sorry, y'all. I know that sounds bad. Quickly, that's quick, right? Because this, yeah. So, that's why, you have to look at those death reports, because they already know like how long you could survive without this, how long you can survive if this happened. These are just facts. Nicole says the nurse never knew she had a broken neck or damage done to her spinal cord. Okay, so a nurse is going to make an assessment, right? Right? So if I'm the nurse had to have known that something was broken, because you see it visually, right? You can see when, the first assessment is just with the eyes and stuff. So it would have been very obvious that there was an injury upon arrival. I've had times where, I can see from the doorway, when a patient has expired, right? It's just a certain look. You can see when it's a body, or when someone's in their sleep or something like that. There's just certain looks. So with her having all of these injuries and the way her head would have looked, it would have been so obvious that there was trauma there. She had facial swelling, there's, yeah. So a regular person would have been able to establish that there was some trauma here. Maybe they wouldn't have said a broken neck or something, but they definitely would have noticed that there was trauma there. So that's why I don't believe that, no nurse or doctor made an assessment, because there's no way that all the rest of the documentation would have taken place had they have just did an initial assessment to just even look the person up and down. Juanita says, we all got to remember Mexico doesn't have a one accommodation like the U.S. when it comes to technology. Let's see. B. Marie says, but why would she be the only one with alcohol poisoning and all of y'all was drinking? Good one. Yeah. So, we have all these little, why, these questions, why, and, they can't be answered. I mean, they are answered with just the autopsy report. That's what I'm saying. If once you just keep going back to the facts, the rest of the stuff is just stories. So when they're trying to give us these stories and stuff like that, we can just throw that back and just say, okay, dispute this first. Dispute the fact that there's a broken neck and a broken back, right? And then we could talk about this alcohol poisoning. We could talk about, this seizure, this chronic seizure that she had with this sphincter relaxation. It was like they were trying to paint the picture, because there's certain cycles that happen to you when a person expires. Like, they were trying to say that whole sphincter thing, because most people are going to have like a bowel movement, when they expire. That's like you can, one of the clues or signs or whatever. So it's like they were trying to, chart it, paint it the picture like that, so we can go, oh, okay, she had the seizure and then she went. Oh, that makes sense. Because when you get the alcohol poisoning, they didn't, So, and the other thing too, so if the friends told the doctor that she had the alcohol poisoning, Why didn't they rush her to the emergency room so she can get her stomach pumped? You don't give an IV, right? You get to the emergency room so we can get the stomach pumped, get you on some real fluid. So that just shows, that it's all lies. Like you weren't even doing you for the diagnosis, you didn't do the right plan of care. That's not correct. You don't do that. If you have any type of poisoning, the plan of care is to get the stomach pumped. You get your stomach pumped. Truth Seeks Me says, I'm good, yet my community global is horrific. We need to call each other out on BS. We must care about how gross this incident is because it happens all the time in our community. Unacceptable. Yes, I agree. And that's why I'm talking about it too. Y'all can see that this is my first time talking about this kind of stuff. This was a hair channel. But when I heard this and when I heard the new stuff that they were talking about with this whole alcohol poisoning, the doctor spent there all that time, I just couldn't stay silent because I'm like, this is a crock of BS. Y'all just read the autopsy report the day before that said she had a broken neck and a broken back. So now all of a sudden we getting distracted talking about alcohol poison and they gave her care for 3 hours and all that stuff. Fake. Unacceptable is right. Facts. And Max said this wasn't a well thought out plan for anyone involved. The doctor had to have known the medical examiner would reveal the truth during the autopsy. Yes. And you know what I believe is that most of the time they believe that nobody cares about the women or the person who they just, checked out. So they're thinking that the family is just going to accept what the story is and just move on, not realizing that, people are going to be like, hey, that's my child. This is my loved one. I want some real answers. And two, they probably wasn't expecting for them to get the body back so quick and, to be able to see and get the body back so quick and then get that death certificate and then read and be like, hey, and I'm seeing her face all banged up. Like, how did this happen from alcohol poison? This looks, pretty violent here. So I'm thinking they didn't think that they were going to be able to get that body back so soon and see that evidence of, what went down. Let's see. The doctor. Okay. So I probably missed that up somewhere. That's my belief anyway, that they didn't believe that, that the family was going to be questioning that. They thought they were going to just be able to do that and get away with it, and that nobody was going to question it or read it because it was going to be supposed to be in Spanish, right? Maybe they're not going to even check to see, and we can get away with this. We just say it was the alcohol poison. We didn't paid off these cops. We got the paperwork that's showing that the DA said this is what's happening, and so they probably thought they had the golden ticket and that, they had a way out. Like, this is how we're going to do this thing here. And here's our alibi. We purchased a nice alibi and we used the victim's money to buy our alibi and our way out of this. See, Juanita says the doctor, police, and someone else is under investigation. Yes, they said the DA, the doctors, the police department, the doctor, and the DA. So I'm thinking that they were all the ones that were in cahoots to concoct this story out of the police department. I'm thinking that everybody that they talking about, they probably used the name of a doctor, right? Like forged the name of a doctor. Like, I don't think a doctor would have, if a doctor had been involved, it would have it wouldn't have sounded like that. The doctor would have said that they were, DOA, on arrival. They was out on arrival, because now I'm removing myself. A doctor would not have opened himself up to be under investigation. Anybody who spent 3 hours with a person who's critical and did nothing about it is going to be under investigation. So I don't think that a doctor would have, wrote all that stuff. I'm thinking that somebody faked, forged the doctor. They know the doctors who work that area, and they say, oh, we just say Dr. Jose did, I don't remember the name of the doctor. Dr. Jose did it. We just sign Dr. Jose's name off here and say Dr. Jose did XYZ, right? But a real Dr. Jose wouldn't have never admitted to that, because I'm going to be under investigation. If I have a patient and okay, let me just say this. All right, so diabetes, right? Diabetes is a disease where your pancreas isn't making insulin, right? And you need insulin in order to get the sugar to work for your, work in your body. Brain needs glucose, right? So insulin is the key in order for your body to accept the sugar, the glucose to function, right? You need that in order to, survive. So the people with diabetes don't have the insulin. So we give them insulin. We give them medicine for insulin. And I forgot the point I was trying to make. But what I was going to say was that, okay, so I have a patient with diabetes. I get there and they're not really responding. I check the sugar, and the sugar is anything under 70 is a problem. You got to be responding right away. I check the sugar and it's 56. If I don't immediately go get some D50 and push that in their vein, IV, some kind of way needs to be done in there instantly, because without the glucose, you're done. So anybody out there that's diabetic, be careful with your sugar being low. It's safer to be high than low. Low is instant checkout. High, you could be high for a while before anything super bad happens, but low is instant something. So anybody who have loved ones that are diabetic too, low blood sugar is urgent. It's an emergency. So if I have that and I do nothing about it, I am negligent. So I don't believe that a doctor wrote that stuff, because who would write something like that? Oh yeah, I had a dying patient and I did nothing for 3 hours. No, so I don't believe that. That's why they messed up there. They messed up there by probably not wanting to pay the doctor to write the report. Jackie Chambers, welcome. Okay, another new name. Hi, new to your channel. Some years ago, while on a resort in Mexico, my daughter cut her finger. We were sent to an infirmary to see the nurse, given a Band-Aid. Wow. Okay. All right, Cint A said exactly. Jackie Chambers says, later that evening, said the nurse was head entertainer in the chorus line. Wow, got back home, daughter's finger got infected and needed 2 stitches. No more Mexico for me. Wow. Okay, I sure appreciate that, Jackie, for you saying that, because here I was trying to give them, benefit of doubt to say that, but... So my question is this then: if she was a head entertainer on the chorus line, what are the chances of her being a real nurse, right? So they could have people that aren't really licensed, or, because a real licensed person wouldn't do these kind of Band-Aid patch jobs. And I do remember the lead attorney on his Wednesday Night Live was saying that it's not a real judge that's going to see you if you go there to court. That is a clerk, with like a 9th grade education or something. So I'm thinking if they're having, people like that to do this legal stuff, what are the chances that this was a real nurse? Could have been a nursing assistant or somebody who just, So I'm suspicious of the true credentials of the people, like if she's doing both jobs. Because if you're a nurse, why are you, trying to moonlight doing this stuff, right? I don't know. M. Max says, that's why I suggested earlier that the person that recorded the fight is very important. Had they not posted the video, what happened to her would have been totally speculative. I agree. And I had heard earlier, I had watched a video that someone had said that some people were making fake accounts for the mother and that these were fake accounts. And then I heard the mom on a interview saying that she hadn't posted anything on Instagram in like 5 weeks. So it made me think, because I had, I was following what I thought, or who I thought was the mom on Instagram. So I'm thinking like maybe whoever is doing this might be one of the people that had the videos, and they're, trying in their own way to leak the information without, maybe putting themselves in danger or something like that. I don't know, because I feel like if I was somebody that was there or something like that, or I witnessed that, I don't know if I would be scared. Maybe I would be fearful. Maybe that person is fearful and doesn't want to say anything after she saw what happened to Shanquella and the people who got away with it. Like, you know what I mean? So, that would be scary. It's like, who am I going to tell? We're back home here in the States and they don't have any jurisdiction to do anything. I don't know, how am I going to, verify my safety if I say something? B. Marie says, Dr. Jose and them didn't think. Dr. Jose and them didn't think this was going to be an investigation. If it wasn't for the parents and social media demanding answers, they probably would have gotten away with this. Think about it. Yes, I totally agree. And that's why they started feeding these stories to her hometown, trying to get it to spread and stuff. And then before, we knew it was spreading. People were sitting up here, spreading these stories, and they're trying to, change our how we were thinking, get us off the track to continue to demand answers about this broken neck and stuff like that. So yeah, you're absolutely right, B. Marie. Thank you for that comment. Jackie Chambers says, that's exactly what I thought. Yeah, so we are in agreement with that. That's what I thought, because like I said, when I first heard about it last week, it was before all this news story of they worked on her for 3 hours. Like, I just found that it was just super hard to believe, especially after the autopsy report came back. And then the mom had said that when they came back, they were each given different stories and nobody had the same story. And that's usually, number one indicator that there's a lie happening when you have multiple stories. Okay, Thurston Howell, the bird and friends. Thurston Howell, the bird and friends. Is that from Gilligan's Island, the Thurston Howell? Y'all probably too young to know about that. Anyway, so Mexico typically does nothing when someone is that were there in their country because they don't want him to be affected. So you are so right. Wow. Yeah, I this is good news here. Yeah. And then they don't care. They probably, make more money by helping to cover it up. I'm pretty sure there's probably like a ring of something that's been done. A lot of times, like I was saying, people would take, women from Los Angeles to Las Vegas to do whatever. And then if they would body them, drop the bodies off in Arizona. So now you going through 3 different states. And since they put minimal value on these, femicides and stuff, things were just, people were just being unsolved because it's like, well, this person is not really in my state, or not in my state. And some of these states have so many cases and stuff of these little unsolved unalivings that, they don't care. It's just, oh, well, next. So that's why it's important that we, now that we have a voice in social media, we can actually get more stuff done, because our voices are heard. And Thurston Howell says that's why they chose Mexico. They thought they could get away with it because Mexico rarely chases any kind of they don't want publicity to affect tourism. I believe that too, and I think a lot of people are feeling that way too. Yeah. Thank you, Thurston. These are great comments. Great comments. Yes, Gilligan Island. Just sit back and you hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tiny port above this tiny ship. The mate was a mighty sailing man, the skipper brave and sure. I can't remember. I believe I remember this. 5 passengers set sail that day for a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough. The tiny ship was tossed. If not for the courage of the fearless crew, the minnow would be lost. The minnow would be lost. The ship set. So I don't remember the rest, but okay, that's pretty good though, because that was like a long time ago. I'm dating myself there. I agree. Let's see. Hey everyone, bonjour Barbie. I'm sorry, Bougie Barbie. I keep wanting to say bonjour. Bougie Barbie back in the hizzy. Hey. John Q. All right, there's new people here. Why does everyone keep referring to the blank certificate as the autopsy report when it's not? An autopsy is referred to as a post-mortem examination. Where is that? Thank you. Post-mortem examination. Let's see here. I'm sure somebody. Okay, we're gonna get back to your question shortly, John Q. Thurston. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I used to watch Gilligan's Island. Yeah, all right, B. Marie. Okay. OMG. You're the best. Laugh all out. Okay. You started it. It threw me the bone. I had to jump on it. I didn't even know that my brain was going to recall all of that stuff. I don't know. But a lot of times I guess, that just shows, the repetition, right? Bougie Barbie says, you just let me know I was singing the words of that song wrong. Oh, okay. Isn't that funny how sometimes, you don't really know what the words are and stuff? Yeah, because the name of the ship was the Minnow, right? That's what it was. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I used to love that show. I thought Gilligan was actually handsome, but yeah, when I was young. Here we go. Okay, so Bougie Barbie is saying hey to B. Marie. So we're going to get back to, what do you say here about this little death certificate is not the same as an autopsy report. And if y'all don't mind, go ahead and hit the like button on your way in here so we could let the algorithm know that we in the house. Okay, so it's been an hour and 42 minutes. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up and say some words. I know people was really typing or texting out a lot of stuff. Sometimes it might be a little easier to just say it so we're not getting our points. We get our points across more effectively. I'm gonna drop the link here. Oh, I got more comments. I'm gonna get back on those really quick here. Here we go. Link is dropped, and we'll go over here and pin it. Pin message. There. Oh, where am I at? Y'all didn't put these up here so quick. Now I lost my spot. Yes, the SS Minnow. Yep, I think that's what it was too. You are so right. Okay. So that link is there for that, and see some other links I need to drop off in here to show support. You could please like and subscribe. And we will do this here for me over here. And thank y'all too so much for your support. I need to put up here if the sponsor for the last stream was Shayla with her Cash App support. Thank you so much too for that. Everybody's been super supportive, and also have a PayPal. If y'all want to support the channel, feel free. Copy. and paste. There we go. All right, so let's see what we have going over here. All right, so and thank you for all the new subscribers too, because there's been a lot of new subscribers, which has really kept me on this mission that I'm doing here with with the channel here, building the community. And I really like what people are saying here. As far as like wanting to keep the building the community so we can get the words out and start having a voice speaking for people. So B. Marie says the death certificate is not the autopsy report. It basically states what the cause of death. The autopsy is where they weigh the body, fluids, organs, etc. Thank you. All right, so we're probably just words are wrong, but the death certificate you said basically states the cause of death, right? So that's what I'm referring to is the cause of death, and we know the cause of death was the neck and back injury that we read. So thank you, B. Marie. I appreciate that. Oh, that's me. That's my PayPal there, y'all. There. See here. Thurston Howell says, that's how I named my parrot Thurston Howell. The bird I changed the spelling because it looked cute. Oh, okay. The Howells, right? They still was bougie over there, trapped on the island with all that money and they couldn't spend it. And okay, Jackie says, sorry, I have to type. I'm deaf and TTY only allows translation. Oh, I appreciate that. Relay calls don't allow social media calls. I don't know why. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that. You taking the time to do that and keeping your voice heard. All right. Appreciate you. Cheryl Manning. All right. Rest of the song. Gilligan and the Skipper too. Oh, okay. Thank you. Okay, that's okay. I saw it. All right. Okay, with Gilligan, the Skipper too. The millionaire and his wife, the movie star, the professor and Mary Ann here on Gilligan's Isle. Thank you. Okay, because I had got lost on that part, but that's right. I just needed the clue to pick up where I left off at. That's right. And in the original one, the song was different because they used to say the movie star and the rest are here on Gilligan's Isle, and then they changed it to add the vocal, they add the words the professor and Marianne. Yeah, yeah. Marianne was beautiful. She had a little hourglass figure. I thought she was prettier than the movie star. Let's see. Thurston Howell says she was so beautiful. They were seething with jealousy over that and her success. To be careful who you hang with. So sad, heartbreaking story. Yes, I believe that too because she was extremely successful. She was a businesswoman. She had herself together, young, beautiful, and definitely creates jealous and envy in other people. So it's very important, like we were saying, to be aware. You want to look, listen, and feel for negative energy. And anybody who is envious of you or jealous of you is a bad thing to be around those people because those are the ones that'll sneak you, like, pretend to be your friend, smile in your face while they, get you cut up in the back, like, So you have to be aware of that too. Like I was saying yesterday, you want to surround yourself with people who are doing better than you or around the same. You want to have little to do with people that aren't doing it better than you because they have a potential to be envious and jealous and pull you down, right? So you want to, it's better to be surrounded with people doing better than you. Let's see. Thurston says, does Mexico have the death penalty? I don't know. I don't know. Anybody knows that? Please answer Thurston's question here. Mexico has a death penalty. Thank you. And new information on winter. Oh, any new information on winter. Bella Ferla. I don't know. Did we have any new information on winter? They're not even announcing the name of the person that they put the arrest warrant out to. So that's something, it's like they're saying that there's an arrest warrant, but they haven't released the name. So we don't know if that's Winter or Dejanay. Who is this arrest for? Juanita says, it is said Shanquella's funded most of the trip. You can't trust no one. Yeah, I had heard that too, that, she, was spending the money for it and stuff. And that's other ways too to make people jealous. Like, if you are a big spender and letting it rain, making it rain and stuff like that, people will think of you as a show off, and they'll definitely try to dim your light, right? Because of their jealous nature. Jealousy could be a really ugly spirit. It's a very negative spirit, and you have to be super careful, because a lot of people have been unalive for that very reason. It can cause a rage, a fury in the person who is experiencing this jealousy. Like they just don't even feel good to see you here. Somebody had made a video, I think it was the Winter lady, who was on her Instagram talking, and she just sounded so bitter, and you could still hear the anger in her voice, as far as like, that Shanquella was in a fight, and Shanquella said something, or she was not sounding empathetic, or like, sorry that the woman is not even here. It was hard to hear. Bougie Barbie says, that's how I remember it. And the rest, and dating myself. Oh, I'm dating myself too. And the rest. Yeah, I think they probably did that one later too. It didn't make the song too much shorter, the intro too much shorter, but yeah, I don't even know why they had made that change, because they were still part of the cast. Thank you for that reminiscing spirit. Don Rashad, welcome. That's a new name for me. It makes you scared to make new friends, honestly. I know, I agree, or to even think about meeting up with anybody because of this kind of stuff, and how people are so sneaky now and don't really say stuff. People don't just come out and be honest with you. They'll try to fake you out, wear a mask, and get next to you. So that's why it's super important too to be able to judge when somebody's trying to butter you up or love bomb you in some kind of way, so you don't get entangled with the wrong snakes and stuff. Thank you for your comment, Ron. I appreciate that. I need to see some more likes over there. Hit the like button, please, on your way in here. Lace Jackson says, do you think this case would have blown up had we not seen the video and wonder released it to? I wonder who released it to. I'm hoping I don't think so. And yesterday I was saying how I was likening this to the Rodney King case back in the 90s, when this kind of police brutality had been going on for forever. Like I said, I'm originally from Los Angeles, California, and I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and a full-fledged adult in the 90s. And we all knew that, the LAPD used to beat up the brothers, even, getting beat by the police was no, new thing. Everybody knew that that's what was going on, and you couldn't do nothing about it because, that's just what happened. But this time when it happened, somebody actually had a camcorder. Back in the day, we had camcorders and stuff with VHSs and all that stuff. We didn't have cell phones with cameras and videos and all that kind of stuff. So this was the first time that it was on. Somebody, a white guy actually, took a video of it and released it to the news. And we see it, and it was outrageous because we were like, yeah, okay, yeah, that happened to Lil Rock. It happened to Debo. We remembering that, yeah, this stuff is happening. And so we knowing for sure, yeah, it's about time. Y'all about to get it now. It's all on TV. So everybody in the community just knowing for sure that these police officers were going to be punished for it, because look here, everybody see it. It's all over. It's not just here in LA. It's all over the nation. Everybody see it. Y'all about to go down. And then all of a sudden they said, not guilty. And within seconds, y'all, it was literally within seconds. At that time, everybody was watching TV, and they say, we interrupt this program to bring you a special report. and it was the news showing Florence and Normandy and brothers was pissed off. They was throwing rocks, breaking up stuff, and then, within minutes, it was more and more news stuff, shootings and beatings and all kind of stuff. It was like, it was, you could feel it. Like, even I felt like I was angry and wanted to go out there, but I didn't, because bullets don't have names, right? And then a fire and all that. It was bad. It was like a war. It was something, it was spectacular. No, they don't. So I don't think we wouldn't have did anything. So I'm liking this to the Rodney King case, because I feel that this has been happening. Like, there's a whole bunch of unsolved, people been told that they loved one, passed there in Mexico. Some people probably never even got the body back, right? They never would have had the $6,000 to get that. Like, some people may not have $6,000 laying around to recover the body, to be able to put the pieces together to say, hey, this looks, suspicious. Some people wouldn't have even, maybe, they wouldn't have had it. So they've been probably getting away with this. But because the video came out, and now, it's out there, more and more people is looking at it. So I don't think that the case would have gotten this much attention, even if Shanquella's parents would have just brought the deaths report, or the cause of death report, make sure I'm saying the right one, report to the police or the FBI. Who knows, if they probably wouldn't have done much. But since everybody is calling out saying we want answers, now we're going to do something. Let me see here, where am I at? B. Marie says, Kali was her best friend. She trusted him. She tried to help him promote his business and come up too. Wow. And see, so these are other reasons, you sit there and we try to help other people, going back to what I said, putting your mask on first. And a lot of times, if people aren't doing it for themselves, there's no way that you can help them. You can't live somebody else's life, right? So you could teach people, but if they ain't trying to do it for themselves, you just gotta, kick the dust off your shoes and keep it moving and stuff like that, because those are the people that will definitely, try to pull you down, because they want what you have, but they don't want to put in the hard work in order to get it. So you have to be super careful with who you try to help. Bella says, Wiki says she was worth 500,000, and TOD, these devils who participated are just as guilty as the blows. They all knew. I'm so very bothered by Shanquella's torture. Come Monday, it's on. Oh, yeah. I thank you for your comment. Yes, I did hear she was worth a lot of money too. She had multiple businesses, and she was a successful woman. She was very successful. Let's see. Lavonda says they are all cheaps. A copy of the venture bill was shown that she paid over $9,800 plus. I can't remember the rest of the amount. They had no consideration for generosity. That's true again, too. You know what I mean? So people that don't value, your hard work that you took to get the funds and the monies and all that kind of stuff, don't care. They don't care. They don't care. So that's why sometimes you can't really share your wealth with everybody. You can't, because some people don't appreciate it because they didn't do the work required in order to get the success. And that's why a lot of times when people like win the lottery or get a big lump sum of money that they didn't really work to get, they are broke and in debt, or have, some horrible financial problems shortly afterwards, because, if you didn't really work that hard to get it, you don't respect it, because, it was just kind of given to you. So the way you view it is a lot different, this money. Juanita says, you would only see me with my kids. Bella says, she was so much better than those 6. Those women wanted to wear her skin. Yep. And jealousy would definitely do that. It was, just make them hate everything about you, just how you look, how you that, that, and it will just can drive people to rage on you. Juanita says she had two businesses, a hair business and a clothing business, which she said her clothings are always sold out. So she was doing well. Yes, she was. She was doing quite well, and had a sweetheart, a good, genuine heart. And that's another thing we we're talking about too. Like a lot of people need to know the signs and symptoms of these predators and stuff like that that try to um, they target you, right? So she was probably targeted because she was generous and a giving person, and actually had a lot. So get these fake friends, or people that she knew when she was younger, and then all of a sudden we meet back up. I'm making it. I'm successful. We kind of had the same upbringings, but you still there, right? So that could cause people to be jealous too, especially if you're doing better than them. B. Marie says Mexico used to have the death penalty, but abolished it in 1986. Commuted death penalty sentences to life without parole. Okay. Sorry, I'm in creeps. I kind of thought you did. I was getting ready to say that too, but okay. Thank you, Lavonda. Appreciate that. All right. Okay, y'all coming in here. Coming in here. And Juanita says, throw their buttons in a hole, forget about them. I agree. I agree. I really agree, because it's hard to just sit and back and know all these details and know that they are out there, just walking around and still having the nerve to get on social media and talk, speak, and make posts, about this, when you participated in that, you saw it, you witnessed it, you were there, and you know what happened. So shame on you. Shame on you. All right, so let's see here. All right, so we've been going for a couple of hours here. I'm going to see if I maybe pick out one more story, and then I'm going to wrap it up. We're not going to do a marathon like last night. That was a marathon for me. It was my longest live, 9 hours and 20 something minutes, right? And the other thing I was going to say too, if I do stick around for long periods of time, since I am a nurse, I'm going to say that we're going to take a break, and then everybody's going to stand up and stretch, because you need to stand. You can't just be sitting down for too long of periods of time. So y'all gonna give me a like a 30-second stretch break, and I expect y'all to stand up and stretch too. Y'all get up and stretch. Don't just be sitting around like that. Get up and stretch, and you step off the camera here. Everything stretched out. All right. Thank you. Okay, so because I know yesterday my back was hurting and stuff like that, and I was like thinking that I would definitely tell my patients and stuff like that. You don't sit for too long period of time to get up and stretch, right? So make sure you keep your circulation and everything else going. And I was talking about my super beats, right, for the cardiovascular system. Super beats. Beets are really good for your cardiovascular system, and so you want to make sure you're keeping all that good stuff, heart pumping, blood pressure good, and all that good stuff. So drinking beets, eating beets, and all that good stuff, very good. Beets good for the skin. It's a natural aphrodisiac. It's all good. I love beets. Beets. Yep. All right. Oh, another new name here. See if I can figure this out. The Ark and Covenant of Beauty. The Ark and Covenant of Beauty. All right, I like that. She had 3 businesses. She also had a hair braiding business, that's right, where she didn't braid for kids, where she did braids for kids. Clothing businesses and hair businesses. I really hate this beautiful young lady with such a good heart. Yes, I really hate this I'm sure it's something that's not right here. Really hated for probably this beautiful, young, good-hearted lady. Yes. All righty. You did a great job yesterday. I saw the last couple of hours. Okay. Yeah, it was 9 hours and something. My eyes had started to cross after a while, but that was, it felt like, I don't know. I was floating. I'm still floating and stuff. On fumes right now too. Cause yeah. Juanita says, how can they sleep at night? Yes, just no souls, devil. I agree. I've been having a hard time sleeping and, all emotional and crying and in tears and feeling like, all messed up. And yes, and they're just here walking around, like nothing happened. Yeah, that goes to show a lot too for people like that, how can you sleep at night? Shame on you. All right. The Ark of the Covenant of Beauty says, can you go back over what happened when you have a broke neck and spinal? I missed it. Okay, yeah, sure. All right, so this I wish I had my little spinal thing here, but anyway, so depending on where the fracture is, her fracture we saw that it stated it was atlas, right? So that's like the top of the head. Her head was pretty much knocked off of her body, still attached because skin and neck and all that stuff there. So when that happens, the brain sending the signals to the lungs and everything down here. From here down, there's no signal getting through. So she was pretty much paralyzed at that moment instantly from the neck down, from the injury down. So that means that she didn't take any more breaths because the lungs aren't going to work because there's no signal to make them move. So she at that point is just totally still stiff. Face and everything could move. So she could, blink, tears, cry, maybe some mouth movement. She could probably look to the side. I'm feeling that she, I'm not feeling, but she could still hear. All this brain, everything is good, right? She's still thinking. She's probably confused, like what the hell is happening here, and I can't move now, and y'all still hurting me, beat me. I can't even breathe. I can't even speak because I don't have any oxygen. So she's not able to scream, cry, or nothing. There's no sounds able to come out because without oxygen, your vocal cords aren't going to make any sound. So she could have possibly been just, opening her eyes and mouth, like, that's what all she could possibly do, anything with the face. But other than that, there's no movements or nothing like that. So after so many minutes, you're going to black out because of lack of oxygen. And then your heart's going to stop beating because there's no oxygen. All right, I'm going to bring up a John Q. Got to stay here. Hey, John.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, where are you calling from?
New York.
Oh, New York. Okay, so it's midnight. It's 1 a.m. over there where you at, right?
Yeah.
One.
You're
Okay.
on the West Coast?
No, I'm in Alabama, so I'm Central Time. I'm an hour behind you.
Hour behind. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Congratulations for starting your channel. I watched a little bit of your live yesterday. You were doing extraordinarily well, I must say.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm passionate about it. So that's why I feel like it's really coming easy for me because, been a nurse for 30 years. So just talking about this kind of stuff is very easy. And also, I'm a mom. I have a daughter who's 24. And, this kind of hit home. Like, I would feel horrible if something like this were to happen to my daughter or, something like that. So, and me being a woman too. And I know these issues are out there. And for such a long time, women have not had a voice, like, our cries go unheard. So I think it's very important that, we speak on this. And I appreciate you coming. So what questions or comments do you have?
Yeah, well, the main one that's been since this case started for me, I'm a father of 2 and a grandparent of 3.
Oh, okay.
I've got 2 daughters, and they have given me beautiful grandchildren. And this story pulls at the heart.
Yeah.
To see some nowadays.
Yeah.
Nowadays, the way young people are carrying themselves, they're traveling about. And when this story came across my eyes, actually it was emailed profusely to my email box because I do a channel as well.
Oh, okay.
And I do investigative type reporting on certain cases. I've covered the Kanika Jenkins case. I've covered the Cash Gernon case, the Orson and Orrin West case, the California City Boys,
Oh.
and a number of them. I'm working on the Daniel Robinson case, the 25-year-old that went missing out of Buckeye, Arizona.
Mm.
Yeah, for a little over 16 months now.
Wow.
And when the name Robinson came up again, I said, well, this is a different Robinson, and
Right.
started looking into it. And the first thing that they need to truly investigate, and I'm glad that the Mexican authorities, as well as the FBI out of North Carolina, is now involved. And if they continue to follow up, we will get to see some justice out of this. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
However, the first thing that they need to investigate is the item that they are reporting from. If you notice, news article after news article, whether it be the national news media that's throwing out 2 and 3 minute news clips, they're using the word autopsy,
Okay.
the autopsy report. But at the same time, too, they are zooming in on the death certificate while they're talking about the autopsy.
Okay.
And I said, well, okay, so the autopsy's out. I've done a thorough research and a thorough read of the Kanika Jenkins autopsy. I've done a thorough read and investigation on the Kylie Rodney autopsy. I know what they look like. I
Right.
know what the toxicology reports are from the NMS labs that the United States use. It's a predominantly large laboratory here that covers all toxicology for the country. And I'm saying, what autopsy are they talking about?
Wow. See, they
Yeah.
do the wordplay and they distract us lay people that may not know that, because I know I've been kind of interchanging the words too, because I
Mhm.
read this and then I saw that, and then I didn't not even aware that, doing these different words and it means something totally different.
Yeah, that's why I wrote down in the chat, there's a big difference between an autopsy and a death certificate.
Yeah, I appreciate
You
you
know,
coming
cause
up
of
and explaining it too. It makes sense.
Yeah, the cause of death, yes, it will be written on the death certificate. But what does the death certificate, where does that stem from? It has to stem from a post-mortem examination or a post-mortem autopsy. And I'm going, where's the report? Where's the report? I heard uh, Shanquella's mom mention an autopsy. So I said, they must have the autopsy. I heard the dad mention the autopsy. I heard channel after channel after channel, news report after news. I'm going, where the hell is this autopsy? And I wanted to make that distinction because, as far as we're concerned, well, me, that is, I don't see an autopsy. There is no post-mortem report for us to speak on. The only thing that they released is the death certificate, and that everyone has been basically talking about. And I wanted to, can I briefly share what that death certificate looks like to your audience?
Sure, please.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, and thank you all for bearing with me, and much love to everyone
Right.
in the chat supporting Miss Natural Beauty
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
covering the
Here
case.
to support the truth.
Absolutely. So what I'm going to basically do is, since there's no audio, I can share my screen. My little square is coming to you
Okay.
right next to my photo, and you can. Oh, okay. You're proficient on StreamYard. All right, cool. All right. So what I'm going to share with you, I'll blow it up.
Thank you.
All right, give it to me now. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay, let me know when you can see that.
Yes, we can see it. Y'all see that pretty good? Put a 1 in the box if y'all see it good.
And I wanted to get everyone cleared on this because I'm going to show you the difference. And then this way going forward, you're going to know for sure when the news people talk about an autopsy, yet they refer to the death certificate, they are only talking about the information from the death certificate because they don't have the autopsy.
Okay.
Why they're doing that, I have no idea. But once again, it's misinformation.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to point out. And people should know the difference between the two. So this was this the death certificate that you were able to lay your eyes on and go
Right.
through?
I saw that someone else had posted the lead attorney was speaking off of that, and that's where I had got my information from.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you can also share this information as well because I'm going to show you some things. And thank you, everybody, for putting a one in there. I'm going to show you some things when I lay eyes on documents like this. Whenever I cover cases, I'm looking for identifying marks. And in this, we have obviously Shanquella Robinson's information up top, and I'll blow it up. Her name and her age, her sex, place of birth, everything up top. We have this at line 16, the informant's name here. Who this is, I'm looking up in the reports. I'm looking up in the news articles. Who is this? Yadira Elizabeth Morales Nunez, who doesn't have a kinship with Shanquetta, but yet is the informant who is transcribing this information regarding the death certificate.
Wow.
Okay. And she relates the information from the address on line 20 here in Los Cabos, Puertos Los Cabos, San Jose del Cabo. The information, date and time of death, October 29th, 2022 at 1500. Okay, so this person is the person responsible for transcribing and translating this information for the individual recording this on the death certificate. Okay, got that. All right, and it goes medical attention before, unknown. Did she have surgery in the last 4 weeks? Unknown. And then we get to line 24 here where it says, was it accidental or violent death? And the answer was yes, but never specified yes to what? Accidental or violent death.
Right.
All right. Let me come back out of here.
Wow.
And here's another funny thing, too. And this is what you can begin sharing as well. This Yadira Elizabeth Morales Nunez, or Nunez, if you're pronouncing it with the accent in Spanish, did not sign her signature on line 18.
Wow.
There is no signature here certifying or authenticating the information on this death certificate. That's number one. I'm going to blow your mind again. Now we get down here where it says cause of death. We know that this was a severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, dislocation of the cervix area and right behind underneath the base of the skull that was dislocated, causing her severe damage, and the approximate time between injury and death was 15 minutes. And I said, how would they know that? How would they know that if it's not specified as to the reason why it's 15 minutes?
I'm assuming this would be due to the lack of oxygen. Like if she, she's not able to breathe, that about 15 minutes is about the lifespan that you would have if you have that injury.
Right, correct. However, how was that determined? When they never went to the hospital for that determination, they stayed on site and the time was off. The officials never got there until 3:15 to begin starting to work on Shanquella. So how could she have died at 3 o'clock? According to the time of death here.
Right. So that's why that would lead me to believe that the stories after that is all fake, because at least this here is makes sense. That if you have that injury, about 15 minutes later you should be gone, and then it shows that before they even made their documentation, that according to this, she was already expired.
Right.
At 1500, that's 3 p.m.
Exactly. But I'm going to surprise you again, because as we take a look at this, strangely enough, I wanted to know what line 27 was all about. And line 27 says a necropsy performed. Yes. Does anyone know what a necropsy is?
I don't. What is that?
It is an autopsy that is made on an animal. You can look it up. Not an autopsy where a human is performing an autopsy on a human. It is a specified type of autopsy. This one, a necropsy, is one for an animal. I said, that can't be right. It can't be right. So I said, well, what did the doctor say? Who's the doctor? Well, we go down here to find out that the forensic doctor on line 37 certified this information. As you see here, forensic doctor, line 37. Line 38 gives the name of the forensic doctor, Renee A. Galvin Asakura. License number. Okay, so far so good. But here's the magic bullet.
Wow. Yep, that's what I was saying earlier. I feel like they forged these doctors' information.
There's
like,
no
these are
signature
real doctors.
to certify. Yeah, there's no signature on this document to certify nor authenticate any of this.
Yeah.
This is bad. Now, I thought the informant not signing it was bad, but now you have a doctor that is co-signing on the findings and the authenticity of this death certificate, not autopsy, death certificate.
Wow.
That a necropsy was performed, not an autopsy, that gave them the cause of death, which was the severe spinal cord injury and atlas luxation, and was not authenticated nor certified by the forensic doctor.
Wow, this is deep.
That gave this information. Now, when you look up necropsy, it's going to bring up animals.
Yeah.
I'm saying, okay, well, didn't they have a regular physician or a forensic pathologist there when they took her from the villa to the place where they took her, whether it be the hospital or the location where they had taken her? All we knew that on November 4th, this was a certification date. We got November 4th.
Oh.
Right? Yeah. Certification, but yet not certified. There's no place of registry. The death wasn't registered in the registry office or court.
Oh.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. And so I wanted to point that out and to show you these areas. I was very concerned, very, very concerned, because it's very troubling. This is the first document they need to investigate. And whether an autopsy or necropsy was performed, because there should be paperwork on the necropsy, at least that much.
Wow.
I'm thinking that the parents think that there was an autopsy done but nothing to support the death certificate, an uncertifiable death
Wow.
certificate. I wanted to share that with you.
We all appreciate you for doing that. This is wonderful. This is this is pivotal. This is something. This really changes everything.
Yeah, because the parents have to rely. Since this is a government to a government, a sovereign, independent country
Mm-hmm.
that has a death of an American in their country.
Yes.
So, what the death certificate helps to do is that when they ship the body back to the United States, the death certificate is a certified document. It gives a time of death, reason and cause for death, who signed off and certified and authenticated the death in order for them to handle any kind of legal matters, whether there's real estate, business holdings, stocks, bonds, gold, all kinds of things in reference to proving that the person on the death certificate is deceased. And they don't have
Yeah.
that.
Wow. So where do we go from here? Like how what wow, I don't what do we do with this information?
This is,
Who do
I
we
know this really puts a big question mark out there. So I'm wondering what information, true information, does Salamandra and Bernard have
right.
that certifies and authenticates, Shanquella's death from the Mexican government? That's number one. This is the first document that needs to be investigated, along with these people that was supposed to certify this death certificate. That's number
Yeah.
one.
Right.
So, according to this, we're just looking at something that was never certified.
Right. Yeah, they probably just grabbed a sheet and put in some information and threw in, a doctor's name and his number and just, put it out there to say, I think it's more part of the cover up to make things look, you know, I don't know. This is something, but wow.
Yeah. And this was certified and undersigned by an attorney, a Susanna S. Glens Rivera. Down below is the notary mark. And you know what a notary is.
Yeah.
It makes this a legal document. But all they did was legalize a document that wasn't authenticated or certified by a doctor.
Right. So what is the notary notarizing it? Because there's no signature on here.
Right.
So it's probably a fake notary too, because the notary is supposed to notarize a signature, correct?
Correct. And
Okay.
there are
So
none.
they probably just put that stamp on there just to make it look official,
Correct.
right? Because this looks official, this looks urgent, this looks like this is the thing. So if you give that to some people, and then like since most of us were unaware that autopsy report and a death certificate are two different things, we see this looks official. Boom, this looks like the real deal. So
Right.
wow.
So in saying that, I mean to say this, and I wanted to show an example so people know what to look for. I don't know if you can see this. I think I just switched my page up here.
Official medical examiner.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
That's what we're looking for. Office of the Medical Examiner.
Oh, yes.
You see, and this was Kanika Jenkins, which was a 19-year-old, excuse me, which was a 19-year-old that was found dead in a hotel kitchen freezer out in Rosemont,
Oh, I heard
Illinois.
about that. That was about a year or so ago. Wasn't that a little bit back?
This was in 2017,
Oh, okay.
September.
Possibly they harvested her organs or something like that. Wasn't that?
It was a lot going on with that story, believe
Okay.
me. But here you have the date the examination took place, and let's see if I can just blow some of this up so you folks can see what I'm seeing here. This open this up. Here we go. Now you can see this is what we're looking for. We're looking for date, death pronounced September 10th, 2017. Date examined September 10th, 2017, 10 a.m. Examined by Kirsten E. Howell, MD. Supervising medical examiner Kristen Escobar Alvarenga, MD. And we're looking for this information, external examination, blah, 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 all the way down. We're looking for identifying marks, evidence of injury, internal examination, body cavities. We're talking about how the head was found, the neck was found, cardiovascular system, respiratory system. All of these systems in the biological body, all of these have to be reported on. Specimens submitted for DNA, blood stain cards retained, samples of vitreous fluid, central blood, peripheral blood, bile, urine, everything. We're looking for pathological findings. What was the final findings in the autopsy report, which gives cause of death? And in Kanika's case, it was cold exposure due to her walking or being found in a freezer, ethanol and topiramate intoxications, superficial blunt force injuries, and that's specified. Cerebral edema, nonspecific, was never explained, and a bilobate lung, and then the doctor's opinion as to her examination. And in this case, it's a female medical doctor doing a fellowship at the Cook County Medical Examination Office. Cause of death, hypothermia due to cold exposure in a walk-in freezer with ethanol and topiramate intoxications as significant contributory conditions. Manner of death, accident. This was signed and also signed off by the supervising medical examiner as well. This is what we're looking for, folks. This is the document that says autopsy. Second autopsy here, and I'll be off in 2 seconds. This was Kylie Rodney, the young lady who lost her life from going to a party and was found in the lake out in Prosser Lake, Nevada. And title of the report, report of autopsy. Also, the same information. This is what we're looking for. But yet they keep showing death certificate relating to an autopsy. And that's not right.
Yeah, they're trying to distract us again. And it shows to me, it's proven that there's a super big cover up here.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that, clarity to those of us that didn't know. Like, I had no clue that it was two different things. I was using the words interchangeably because I, assumed it was the same thing. I was falling for the whole thing there. I really appreciate.
So, I mean, I've been doing this since the Kanika Jenkins case. So,
wow. Okay. You got some
looking for certain things, you know what to look for. And
yeah.
it was on my mind. I said, I had did a live, believe it was last Monday or Sunday, and I covered this information. And I said, be careful on what people are putting out there, because it's not only misinformation pertaining to a lot of the things around this story, but even the death certificate. And people were saying, well, what are you talking about, John? The death certificate. I said, well, let me show you. And I brought it up and I started talking, just like I just did moments ago with your audience and you. And they're like, what? No signatures, and what makes that real? And it's an eye opener when you have it in front of you and you can see it, for yourself.
It definitely is. Well, tell us a little more about your channel. I'm going to drop the link in here so we can go over there. Everybody go subscribe to John Q and get some more of this good information. Let me see if I can find your link here. Give us a little update on some of the things that you do over there on your channel there.
Well, I am working on the Daniel Robinson case. As I said before, the 25-year-old field geologist that went missing out of Buckeye, Arizona, who went to work one day and disappeared without a trace. and his father, David Robinson, had to relocate from South Carolina all the way to Buckeye, Arizona, looking for his son in the Sonoran Desert, where he worked on one of the well sites out there. They're building a $600 million smart city out there. And his job was to check the water samples to make sure that they had good water quality out there. And on the day that he did that, and on his first assignment, one of his first assignments going out to a well, meeting someone for the very first time to work with, which was a pump technician, he didn't come back home. And we're finding holes in his story, in the pump technician's story. Yeah, so we've covered that along with, as I said, the California City Boys, A Classic and Sincere, Orson and Orrin West, the two toddlers that allegedly went missing back in December of 2020, only to find out that the parents, almost a year later, was charged with second-degree murder of the boys. They were adopted. They were adoptive parents adopting the boys a year earlier. Yeah, that's a big story out of California. So stories like that I cover, and it's only upon request if people are emailing me or texting me and on the phone, John, take a look at this. John, take a look at that. And I go ahead and do my research, find what I can, and then present it on my channel. So it's sort of like a true crime, investigative true crime, if you will.
All right, great. Well, I have dropped your link to your channel in the chat here, and
Well, thank you.
it's John QQ. For those of you who are interested, please go over there and give him a sub and check out some of his information here, because you really dropped a lot of gems, and I appreciate that. I'm sure we do all appreciate that too, to bring this awareness out there. We want to call out everything that is suspicious on this, and for anybody who has information and know better and know that they're trying to trick us on something, to come forward and put the information out there for us to, everybody to know. We can bring light to it. So thank you so much, John, for coming up here, clicking the link to come up here. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for starting your own channel. And I listened maybe a couple of hours yesterday when I think you did a little marathon, having everything up and running. And I said, you go, girl. She's putting it out there,
Yeah.
It was good that you had a panel guest come up. I think the lead attorney was up here at one time. I heard his voice, and I said, "You're in good company. You're in really good company, And I said, "Well, I'll subscribe and I'll follow you, and I'll try to keep up with your lives because I know you're covering the case,
Well, thank you. And I'll be happy to come over on your lives. Do you do lives, or you go live, or you put up VODs?
That's all I do. Yeah. I did videos on the Kanika Jenkins case, but I found that interacting with the people leaving comments underneath the videos was kind of difficult for me at times, to answer those comments, because they would leave hundreds and hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to work on the next video, and yet I still have comments to do. So I said, well, let me go live. Let me start doing this thing about StreamYard and going live. And that way I can interact with them, highlight their comments, bring them up on panel, have a conversation with people,
True. And it feels good. Like, this is my first time, I took the lead attorneys. He has a YouTuber course about live streaming, and that's how I got started doing this live streaming. And I really love it. I love building this community. I love the support that I'm getting. I just started with this channel, kind of resuscitated it and repurposed it, and it's working. And I'm happy to be, a channel to bring the information out there, and that is drawing the energy from people like you. And, we're all kind of like contributing and building this together. I'm loving it. I am so loving it.
Right, right. And I think someone asked me a question, Mr. John. When did you post Shaquella's video? It was the last live I did on my channel.
Okay. This
Jackie, I think it's Jackie Chambers had to ask me that.
okay.
And it was the only one. I'm looking to do a follow-up very shortly. As this information comes in, I'm not one that goes live every day.
Okay.
I like to sit tight and let the information, let a case evolve, let them get factual information in, and then digest that information. Then we can, go live and speak from a fact-based conversation rather than speculate, as to what the FBI is doing, what Mexico's doing, and I wonder who they're going to catch next, and why didn't they fill out the full search warrant to tell us who it is that they're going after, and
Exactly.
it
It
causes so much
makes me like
sensation.
it's fake.
Yeah,
Because they're saying, yeah, they not releasing any name or saying too much. It just seems all vague, to me. So,
yeah, which is good, which is good because they need to hold this case close to the chest. And
yeah.
then when that time comes, because extradition does take time. This is not somebody that they can go down the block and get. This is the Mexican government now filling out extradition as well as an arrest warrant
Mm,
that has to be brought back here to the United States to go to North Carolina to interact and interface with the FBI field office there. They have to put out a red card alert, in which they did, which is good because it locks down air travel. It literally locks them into the United States.
mm.
So the only place they can go is the United States. They can't fly out nowhere.
Yeah.
Airports, TSA is going to be on point
Wow.
to cover all airport terminals, bus stations, you name it. So they put what is called as a dragnet over the United States in order to cover the ground that they need just in case this person begins moving and traveling from state to state to try to avoid apprehension.
Right. Lavonda Riggins has a question here. It says, thank you so much for the information. Somehow the family needs to be informed. The errors could cause the case to be lost, and prosecutors would say he used what he had. So you were saying you weren't even sure if the parents actually got an autopsy or not, or you think they're confused like we are as far as like thinking that these are the same documents?
Right. I would think by now, at least by now, um, since they would have an attorney,
Uh-huh.
that would represent them, to be sure that they get the proper and factual information that they need. I
Mhm.
believe that before they laid Shanquella to rest over the weekend, that an autopsy here in the United States was performed on her body, and they're just waiting for the full autopsy, toxicology, and test results to come back before they begin to release any of that information.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
and hopefully they can get to compare it to the necropsy that was allegedly performed in Mexico, which help those medical folks down there determine the cause of death, which was the severe spinal cord injury. There are additional injuries that we know that Shaquella had suffered from
Mm.
lump on the head. There
Yeah.
was a bloodshot left eye. There was a busted lip.
Mm.
Also, the cervical damage that was done to her neck. And when you can take a look at that video, the
Yeah.
very first one that was released, it makes you question who released that video? How did that video get back to the United States nearly the weekend that it happened? Was that video supposed to be used for something like to humiliate her? By
Yeah.
the time, if she had lived, by the time she arrived, she would have been all over Facebook out of humiliation because, quote unquote, oh, she got her butt kicked,
Yeah.
kind of thing. And who
Yeah.
released that video? Who released that video? I'd like to know.
Yeah.
Because that's something absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
And those were friends?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely not friends.
Who would if those are friends, my goodness, you wonder what your enemies would have done.
Yeah. Lavonda also said, did the funeral director in North Carolina sign the death certificate? They should have reviewed and informed the family of incomplete information.
I'm sure that the funeral home were the people that were involved in making sure that proper death certificate, autopsy report, all that stuff,
Okay.
got rendered. Yeah, yeah. So, because they truly need to know what in addition to what they know now had occurred, because all that evidence is going to play into the case.
Mm.
Any kind of prosecution. So the United States and Mexico working together to get remedy and resolve for this case, is definitely going in the right direction, as far as I can see so far.
Okay. Okay, great.
Which is good, But thanks to everyone in support of the folks putting out this story on social media, and I'm talking about everyone.
Yeah.
This was the kind of pressure that was basically generated and applied the most to get something done. Thank goodness, and we all
Right.
pulled together to do it.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much, John Q. You are welcome to come back anytime, and we appreciate your all the knowledge that you have here. So if you actually come up with something else you want to share with us, and with the community, please do that.
I'll come by and see you. This ain't gonna be the last time.
Okay, cool. I like to come over there and see you too. So we could be working up together and stuff. The more people that's involved in this, the better this is gonna be. So we can just keep putting the pressure on them, and then when the next case comes up or the next something that's out there, we just keep doing that, highlighting this stuff and get some justice for. Sounds like it's more women. That's being. You gave 3 demonstrations and 2 of them were women. So it just leads me to believe that it's happening more, to women, this whole femicide thing.
Yeah, and it's disgusting. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah.
And by pulling together and developing our resources, online, and to get the word out, to expose these stories, and
Yes.
to make sure that people are getting fact-based information is the reason why I do what I do on my channel. And I see that you do the same.
Yes. Yes. That's my goal. Jackie Chambers says if they flub the death certificate, I'm leery of them getting the extradition papers right. That's a concern of mine too. Like if they're so, flaky over there with that, how are we going to ensure that they're going to actually pay for the crime? It's like they kind of, they're backed up and they're, I don't, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question, Jackie, and it will only keep everyone's eye on this case to see how the Mexican government, the Attorney General, handles the extradition. It's a delicate matter because it has to work through agencies all the way up to the state out of California, Baja
Oh,
California, sir.
yeah.
And then they have to, once it's been approved, if it's gotten that far, then connections have to be made with the federal agencies, whether it be the FBI agency out in North Carolina, the field office out there, and the folks that have picked up the lead because they began investigation, an independent investigation, pretty much at the same time because the family had notified the FBI to get involved.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is good. So they have someone to interact with and interface with when it comes to apprehending the folks on the warrant. Who we looking for, where do we got to go, and how they're going to set it up and make those arrangements possible.
Oh, okay. Lavonda says it was stated on social media that they got afraid and contacted someone to ask them what to do. So that's maybe how they got led to FBI.
It was stated on social media that they got afraid. Who got afraid?
Maybe one of the ones that was taking the video.
Mm,
And because I mean, I'm thinking like if I was there and I saw what happened to Shanquella
right,
and they paid the people and we all on the plane going back.
right,
How likely is it that someone's going to say something because they just got away with the M word here, and now
right.
we're going back to the States where nobody's going to touch them because it was done over here in another country. Am I going to risk I don't know,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
But I'm sure that the FBI field office out of North Carolina, seeing the same video we did, have identified from the information that the Mexican government had identified the people who stayed at the hotel, the registrar's name, all the names that were on the register. It places those people there at that time, flight check-in and out at the airport. So they have a way of tracking the movements of this group from the time they left until the time they arrived
Mm,
and who they are.
wow.
Yeah. So let's just, keep our prayers up for the family,
Yeah.
the strength up for the family, and keep our eyes and due diligence on the case and continue to make the noise that we've been making until we all see this thing through
Yes.
for the full closure that the family really needs in this case. They lost a family member they're not going to see anymore.
Yeah. That's true.
And someone definitely needs to be held accountable. If
Yeah.
not one, all of them, because
Yeah.
they're all culpable
Yep. For some.
um, to a degree, to a very large degree.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Well, thank you again, John Q. Appreciate your comment and coming up.
Yes, and thank you for your smile and your warm welcome. And I'll be back to come and see you.
All right. We'll see you later. Bye, John. All right. That was so great. We had a very special treat. So, all right. Thank John for coming up here and shedding that information and giving clarity and educating us all. Because I had no clue. I was saying that, this last couple of days, the death certificate, the autopsy, I was using those words interchangeably and had no clue that, here was another, distraction that they had us set up on, another way to, trick us and fool us and have us thinking of different I didn't mean to do that. Different things, So wow, we have to be diligent. Thank you so much here. And Juanita says, now you see how El Chapo broke out of jail so many times. I know, that's the other thing too. It's like, are they gonna, really be detained there, or are they just gonna just like let them get up out of there? I don't know. Juanita says, the six asked for help. Let's see here. Lovely. The Cabo Six called someone back home. Vanessa says, it is so sad that Anissa released. Oh, is she the one who released the video? And it was she that called home to ask what to do. Okay, so she was probably scared. You know what I mean? Scared. Because it's scary to witness somebody expire. You know what I mean? Especially if, this, so viciously and savagely like that, and it's like, that is scary. And then to see there you involved with them planning and plotting on how to get away with it. So are you gonna say something? You're probably not gonna say nothing there, because if they just did that to this person, what are you gonna do? You're still outnumbered. And you know, so yeah, well, I'm, bless her for being brave enough to get this out. Lavonda says one of the six they made had sent the video when asking for help. Yeah. Wow. Lovely. Hey, Lovely. Welcome. Did you notice only Winter and Nazir did not have their number on list? No, I didn't. Lovely. I noticed that too. Okay. So let's see. Jackie says, thank you, John. Very informative. Yes. Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. And see, Lovely says the only two who spoke on the live after they returned. Okay. All right. So it's getting very late, y'all. Here it's going on 1 o'clock in the morning for me. And since this is an ongoing case, I'm just appreciative for all of the love and support that I've been receiving. And, you know, I'm going to keep up with my obligation coming on here live. And, you know, when this story is over and there's anything new or it's not anything new, which I'm sure there's always going to be something new, my intentions are to go retrieve some stories from the past to highlight them today so we could, you know, look at these things and be aware of what's going on. Yeah, any new comments? All right, so I got another comment here. A few more. See what it says. The crazy thing is that, let me see how to say this late. Nisa sister was early Friday morning, a day before Quilla. Wow. I wonder if that was was related or not. Let's see here. John Q says, thank you, Miss Natural Beauty and chat. All right. We appreciate you, John. You are so very welcome. Let's see. Juana says, thank you so much, John Q. So you got some thank you here too, John. We appreciate you so much. Keep fresh eyes. Yes. So again, that's why I'm getting ready to wrap this up here. I appreciate I got all these folks up in the chat and it's really hard to go. But anyway, I do need to go ahead and wrap this up. Appreciate y'all for sticking with me for these 3 hours and see y'all tomorrow. And we're going to keep building up this community with peace and love for our fellow people. See y'all tomorrow in another video. Love you. See y'all soon. And thanks again, like I said, all my new subscribers and the old ones too. But especially it's mostly new people here. And we loving all the way. It's all about peace and love.